now. I hope you know that this has nothing to do with you. It's personal. Myself and I, we've got some straightening out to do. And I'm gonna miss
Hey,
you like a child
hey,
misses a
hey,
blanket, but I've gotta get a move on with my life.
dang
It's
it.
time to be a big girl now, and big girls don't cry.
Don't cry, don't
Na na
cry.
na na. Oh my gosh, that was
Who is
beautiful.
that? Gwen
Fergie.
Steph. Oh, I was gonna say
Which,
Gwen Stefani. I'm done guessing shit.
I
I
mean,
am embarrassing myself when I guess something
it's the
wrong.
same world. It's not that far off. So honestly,
Yeah,
I think that was a good guess.
that's one of her best songs.
It is.
And
Does she
big
have? Yeah,
girls
she's
don't
glamorous.
cry,
That's a good one.
don't
Um,
cry, don't cry. Oh,
don't
glamorous is
cry.
everything.
I don't
G
I can't think of
L
any other ones. I know
A
she was in Black Eyed
M.
Peas, so they got their
Yeah,
songs.
there's a lot of
But
group activities that she gets credit for.
oh no, 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 don't mess with my heart. That's her, right?
Yeah, that's one of their
Okay, yeah.
songs.
I
I
was like,
think it's
watch it not
called Don't
be.
Mess with My Heart.
Wonder if I
They
take you
just keep
home
that one.
when you
They've
say
got a lot of like
goodbye.
club songs, like a boom, boom, boom.
They had their era. You so 2008. You're so
No, what
2000
song
and
is that?
late.
Boom,
I'm on that
boom.
boom, boom, boom. Let me hear that boom, boom, boom.
It's funny, when I was in high school, they had a remix and it was called Chicken Kung Pao. And so they like changed
Oh,
all the lyrics, used the
I
same
think I
song.
remember that. That's back in the day when YouTube, it would always be like remixes and
They played it on the
parodies.
radio a lot too.
Oh, Lord. Well,
hmm
hey, y'all. Welcome back
Hey
to the shade
y'all,
of it all. I'm Brandon.
I'm Magdala. How you doing,
I'm
Brandon?
good. I gotta get
Okay,
myself
Mr.
together.
Rogers.
Oh, we did bring the cardigan out. We're having a cozy moment. Got a new
Please
necklace.
won't you be
Um,
my neighbor?
no. But I will be soon.
Oh, you're about to be my neighbor, bitch.
I
So
know.
you can't help it. I had the
Um,
worst fear today. I was like, fuck, what if it floods here and what if Brandon's apartment gets flooded? Because I'm on the second floor. But what if your like future apartment that you're supposed to move into in a couple weeks gets flooded? That'd be crazy.
I hope not. What's the date? It's the 6th. I don't move until the 2nd of next month. So I feel like
Even if
there's
something did
time.
happen, they'd fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully not, because y'all, we're about to get hit with another hurricane.
Another one.
And this also was one where all of a sudden it was like, oh, prepare. Guess what?
Yeah.
Things changed. It's hitting y'all. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we typically get like a couple days heads up, 4 days-ish heads up. I'm telling my parents to watch it. Thankfully, where they work is it doubles as a shelter. So I was like, worst case scenario, just go to work and you'll be okay. Um,
Right.
I feel fine here, but we'll see. My brother was texting me just now, asking me if we're gonna evacuate, and I was like, I wasn't planning to, but I really haven't been paying attention. We're watching football right now instead of the news. It's fine.
Staying on top of it. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna evacuate because I think our my grandmas might be staying with us if
Okay.
it by that time it's like
Yeah.
actually bad, because sometimes it changes. Um, but without a doubt, we'll definitely be getting rain. So there's
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
it just sucks because people are still recovering from the hurricane that just happened a week or two ago.
Brandon, I have an old coworker whose house is destroyed, car destroyed. There was so much water that the cup
Hmm.
holders in her car were full of water and
Oh
still
my
are.
God.
And then she like showed the water line. It was like up to, I want to say like somebody's hip. Like
Oh
it was
my
a
God.
lot. And then like she was just showing everything she owns is gone. Like she
That
wasn't there,
sucks.
thankfully, but like, can you
Yeah,
imagine having to start over all of your stuff? I mean,
that's
stuff doesn't really
crazy.
matter, but it's just like your car too. Like, fuck. And it's crazy because when we used to work together, we bought our cars at the same time. And so I remember she like got a good deal on it and stuff. And It's just crazy. This hurricane really did like affect a lot of people. I don't know where she's at though. I want to say it's Newport Richie or something because I was like, where was it flooding that bad? It was bad in St. Pete, South Tampa, and then like Newport Richie.
Yeah, it was. I saw one of my coworkers, her first floor, they had to like use a leaf blower because there was water. It didn't seem like
Mm,
there was at least too much damage to the house, but there was definitely a lot of water, so that probably would cause damage
yeah.
maybe down the line or even, I don't know. But she seemed fine, but they were like working through it. And then I saw someone else, all their stuff was messed up, so it just sucks. So we're
All
hoping
you
this
gotta
one
do is,
isn't bad.
that's all
Or
you can do.
yeah. But it's
Mm.
crazy.
I
Hurricane
mean, in
season's no
better
joke this
news.
year.
It is. It's actually, I mean, it's typically like this. We get tropical storms, but two kind of tough hurricanes back to back is kind of rare. I mean, like
Yeah.
Ian came and then another one came after that. And this one is supposed to make like a direct hit to Tampa. It's like going through Florida instead of like upwards. It's
Yeah.
going like straight across the state.
Mm-hmm.
We will see, man.
And we're gonna
I told
see.
my parents to keep an eye on it and start watching it. I'm not really
Right.
worried here, but I'm gonna go to the store and get some perishable food. Last time we didn't really get anything.
Yeah, we went to Sam's Club yesterday and we got some like snacks and sandwich stuff and water. So
Yeah,
hopefully, you know,
that's what you
hopefully it
really
won't be
need.
too bad though. So, but it's good to be prepared. Always should be prepared.
Exactly.
But
Hmm.
you were gonna say on lighter news.
Oh, and better news, Brandon ordered some Swedish candy, which we will try.
I did. So there is that. Stay tuned for the TikTok.
What did you get?
I got like it's like a variety pack thing
I'm
that has a
excited. I've
lot
been
that I've
wanting to
seen
buy that.
people. Same, but
Hmm.
I didn't order from TikTok shop because I
Good.
don't trust TikTok shop.
It's a little scary. I don't know why. I just don't want to buy anything from there. It keeps recommending these like this a 4 pack of like fit athletic shirts that look very nice, but like I don't want to give TikTok my information.
It's
I'll
too
look on
much
Amazon.
marketing. It's like, what are you
Yeah.
actually trying to sell me?
Yeah, but I have seen people get stuff from it. Like I've heard of people buying things. I just don't know if I want to be one of those people.
I don't either, and I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like the feeling of
Yeah.
it, the look. It
It's a
doesn't vibe
little
right.
rough looking, like all the pink and nah, I always scroll past.
I had ordered last year, I ordered two small things. I ordered the Alex Earl light, which was just like a ring light, but I hated it because it was like it died so quickly. But it was only like
Mm,
$10, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And then
hmm.
I got my Silky Gem crystal candies when I was
Oh
trying those.
yeah, you were trying those.
But they were all terrible. Such a letdown. I was
Mm,
so excited. I would see people
that's so
eat it, it
funny.
had the crunch. They're like, it's filled with jam. I'm like, that sounds
Yeah.
amazing. And it
Yeah.
tasted terrible.
They looked a little weird.
They weren't
I
good.
remember seeing your videos.
Well, you know. So don't buy them, y'all.
Don't
Um,
buy those.
unless you want
But
to
we
try
will
it,
try
then you
some
know.
Swedish candy.
We will.
Should be
I've heard more
interesting.
good things than bad about the Swedish candy, so
Yeah.
hopefully. I ordered it was on you know that shop app where like you can like track your orders and a lot of the time you can pay through it, like the shop pay. It's like a
What's it
purple
called?
called shop.
Shopify?
No, well, it's like Shopify, but it's not. I don't
Hmm.
know. But it's they
There's an
say
app called Shop.
yeah, it's called
See,
shop.
it really doesn't take a lot, folks.
It well
Why don't you shop on this app called Shop?
right, well it tracks all the orders you do everywhere. And it's like basically
Oh, all your online, do you have to like sync all your accounts?
I don't think so. I think if it's just like through the same email, it'll track it.
How do they
'Cause
know that though?
I
So
think
you're saying like you could track your like furniture delivery through that app?
hmm if it's like the same email
What?
as the account, I think. That's what I think. Because I use the same email for everything. So that's the logic I'm using, but I don't know.
How would they know that?
But
But you didn't
sometimes it's like when you order online, I don't have the option of paying through the shop. It's
shop.
like a purple one and it's like connected if you have an account.
Oh my gosh, let me
And
look
then
at
have you
Logan.
text, it'll text you a code as the verification, like that type of deal. Um, but I like it.
Oh,
It
I have seen that purple thing
You can
before.
search the stores too, because you can order from things, I guess, through the app. And I searched Swedish candy. I saw the Oh My God candy store or something like that. I looked on
Hmm.
Instagram. They looked to be legit. So I was like, let's do this. Why not?
Let's
So
try it out.
let's
Interesting.
try it. We did it. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I've been
Um,
wanting to get some. I'm always, honestly, the only thing that I get tempted to buy online is candy. Like it's specifically candy.
I like, I keep seeing people like try the candy and try other candies.
Hmm.
And then I was craving candy. And I'm like, I'm going to do this.
I almost got a chamoy pickle kit, but then I was just like, bro, all that red dye is probably gonna kill me in 2 years. Like, I don't know if I can like
It
eat
also,
that.
I don't get how it's supposed to be good
Yeah, there's a lot like a vinegar. Imagine vinegar, spice, and sugar.
and sour.
I
I
think
don't know.
I'd like split one between four people. I don't know if I could really like eat that. Like sometimes I think about the things we eat and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I maybe a bite. I'll do a
Yeah.
bite, and
Not the
that's
whole
it.
thing. Oh.
It just, and then the pickle is like red.
Yeah.
It looks radioactive.
No, for real. It's like, yo, what are we putting in our bodies? It looks good for some reason. Probably because everything someone eats look like, you see somebody eating something and it looks good, but then you try it and you're like, oh,
I mean,
just looked good because you were eating it.
I do like Takis. And
Yeah,
then
Takis are
usually when
good.
I get stuff from the drugstore, I'll get like Takis and then like a gummy of some
Hmm.
sort because it's like a balance. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but fruit snacks don't taste as good as they used to.
Nope. Fruit stacks don't taste good. Honestly, gummy bears don't taste good. Like I got some yesterday. I got like the little like Wawa has this little pack where it's like rings of Haribo gummy bears, like kind of
Okay.
near the checkout counter. And I ate them and I was like, this is stupid. Why am I eating this? Just empty calories and they don't even taste that great.
It's like my late night Taco Bell orders. I always
Right.
expect it to be better. And then when I
Amazing that
get
it
it,
is.
I'm like, why
Hmm.
did I do this?
I don't know, something, how everybody says like the day you woke up and like you had consciousness and you realize like, like the day you get a reality check real quick. I've recently had that about food. Cause like I'm usually like, oh, I want chips, I want this. I'm good. And like
Yeah.
honest, and it's also the information right? Like the thing that put me off about the chamoy pickle is that it uses a lot of red dye, and red dye 40 specifically has been linked to cancer. Like in Europe, it's banned. Like you can't
Oh,
make candy with red dye. Like it's really bad.
damn.
And they say that it's like bad for kids, making them like super hyper and stuff, which I felt like was a given. But in general, red dye is not good. So I kind of avoid red dye if I can. And then
Yeah.
seeing all the candy with it, it's like, it's not that great. It's not.
Yeah, I have a friend I think who's allergic to red dye.
Yeah, it's not
So
good for you.
it's
So
not.
I was like, I don't really care to eat anything outside of my house, honestly.
I know. I'm like, this is my last month before I move out and I live on my own. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna not Uber Eats nearly as much. So I guess I'm trying to do my big one. And I'm
Right
not
now.
I'm not
Do a
ordering
little
all
food
the
tour.
time, but if I want to, I'm like, I'll do it because I
Yeah.
will not be doing this. I mean, I'm sure I'll do it every now and then, but just like not like a crazy amount, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I did just order pots and pans. So
Ooh, are
that's
they
fun.
what kind of pots and pans?
They're Rachel Ray. It's
Okay.
a set. My mom had sent me the link because I guess it was through Macy's. And she was like, you should get these because they're good and they're like a little cheaper. And I was like, period. So I got them in sky blue.
Nice.
So
Oh, my
stay
pan set is
tuned.
blue too.
Ooh,
Sky
look at
blue
us.
specifically. I don't remember where I got them from though.
We'll compare. Bring
Are they
them to my
Teflon?
apartment.
I'll walk over with a box
I
of
don't
parts.
know. I'll pull up the order real quick. Let me see if it says it.
Even pans. Ugh, Brandon, adulting is just sucks because the more you know, it's like once you scratch the Teflon off your pan, you're basically consuming a bunch of microplastics. So it's kind of good to not get pans that are made of Teflon. And if you do have Teflon pans, just don't scratch them and you'll be okay. I have a bunch of Teflon pans, so I'm killing myself with every
Maggie's
meal,
is filled with the Teflon.
with every bite.
It's a 14-piece cookware set, non-stick. Where will it say Teflon? Will it say it in like the
Oh,
material?
non-stick is typically Teflon, yeah.
Okay. Its body material is aluminum, interior non-stick, and then lid material tempered glass.
They're
Oven safe
probably
for
not
350
saying
degrees.
Teflon because it's like a no-no word now, I guess.
I
It's interesting. You'll
guess.
be fine. Get some
Let's see.
non-metal utensils,
Oh,
rubber
true.
utensils, and you'll be all right.
Would wooden utensils be okay?
Wood is fine.
Okay,
Just
because
don't
my
scratch
mom
it.
recently got like wood spatulas and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I like
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yeah, I think
They
it's better
work
for
well.
cooking.
I
Mm-hmm.
agree. Um, but
Brandon,
yes.
talking about microplastics reminds me of Tucker from Big Brother because he was saying that when that girl left, she would stop putting glitter in their food and they would
Oh
stop
yeah.
eating microplastics. But who went
But
home last week? Did you see it? I was trying, that's what I was on Twitter to find, and I found other information.
chemo. He went home.
Damn.
I
Who is
know.
HOH?
Chelsea.
Damn.
No.
Who's
Mackenzie. Mackenzie was, and then she won veto. And now this top four, Chelsea's the HOH, and then Mackenzie won veto.
but Mackenzie was HOH before that, and she sent Leah home
But then there was the double, and then Chelsea won the double eviction HOH and sent
and sent
Angela home.
Angela. Oh, you're right. So now anybody, okay, okay. Wow,
Hmm.
they're just trading off. Cam hasn't won HOH yet.
No, and
Who's on the block? Is he on the
Rubina
block?
and Cam.
Yeah, they
So
better if they were smart, they would send Cam home.
that's what I was thinking too. I think I'm pulling for Chelsea to win because I think she wins the comps and is the most strategic, whereas Mackenzie just wins comps. You know?
Yeah, Mackenzie can't think for herself, unfortunately. Like the week from the summary I got of the week she was HOH and sent Leah home, she was just like basically saying like I really hope that I don't watch this back later and I find out that you've been playing me. Because Chelsea's gonna win. At this point, Chelsea's gonna win.
If she makes top two, she better.
Yeah, no,
Cause
I think the jury would vote for her. What? So who's is it's Cam, Chelsea, Mackenzie, and Rubina left?
Rubina, yeah.
Wow.
So we'll see. Big Brother finale soon. We can go over
Uh,
that when it comes out. That'll be
I
our
really
one
have.
time talking about Big Brother, the finale.
I haven't been paying attention enough to feel like I could talk about their games. Maybe I'll listen.
Same.
What's his name?
Taryn.
Taryn typically does a deep dive of their games, so maybe.
He does. Oh, did you
Um,
see who left in Survivor?
was it Asia?
It was.
No!
I didn't watch, but it looks like there was like a twist that happened and she may have gotten screwed and then may have made a bad call, but like it was like a weird chance thing. So it was kind of like, I don't know. It seemed,
Uh,
but she was like talking about how she was disappointed and stuff. I haven't watched any of her interviews, but I know she's been giving some.
I'm sad. That sucks. So I'm not watching your Survivor either. Look, guys, I don't have the energy. Once the person I want to win goes home, I'm done watching. I'll find out who wins in the end. I don't care anymore.
Right. I do have a show recommendation that's non-competition
Of course you do, but there's
for
already four that I have not started yet. What you recommended a couple things. You recommended the one on Netflix about the man who does something.
Kevin Can F himself.
Yes. You recommended. a specific season of Housewives that I should catch up on. I think you said Utah.
Salt Lake City.
So, okay. So give me a chance, Brandon.
Well, okay,
I'm
so obtuse of you to think my recommendations are solely for you, Maggie. It's for the
oh,
viewers. It's for the
I mean, you're
listeners.
talking to
It's
me,
for the
but
people.
sure.
It's
Okay,
for
I didn't think
all
about
of
that.
us.
Fine,
Oh,
Brandon, do your thing. Make another one for the masses.
well, it's another Netflix show.
Of course.
It has Kristen Bell, Adam
What is she
Brody.
doing?
It's called Nobody Wants This. And it's only 10
Mm.
episodes. It's like 20 something minutes each.
Mm-hmm.
I think there'll be a season 2. But it's just this sweet show where it's like her and her sister have a podcast and all this, but then she falls in love with this Rabbi Adam Brody. And then it's like she's not religious or Jewish, and his parents are like, well, you can't be with her because she's not Jewish. And he recently broke up with his fiance who was, and then he's going to be head rabbi, but typically to represent the temple, you have to be with someone who's Jewish. And then it's like, will they be together? Will they not be together? They just have the best chemistry. And it's so sweet.
Wow.
I found myself just smirking and giggling, just like, oh, this is so great. I love Kristen Bell. If y'all have seen
How
Veronica
long is
Mars,
it?
it's only 10 episodes and they're like 20
Hmm.
something minutes each. So
Oh, a
it,
short show.
it is. So if you want to spend a day watching it, you
Mm-hmm.
or any of the other listeners, Um, I hope there's a season 2. It seems like there will be. It ended on kind of like a there's more story to be told.
Yeah.
But
Um, what was
yeah,
this the other one?
Kevin can F himself.
Mm-hmm.
That one's
Okay.
only 16 episodes, but the episodes are a little longer. They're like 40 something minutes. That one's also really good. That one's darker.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was watching Survivor, so I'll stop that now and
Oh,
maybe it was actually getting good. It was actually getting decently good. Like the twist that they had to start the game, like Survivor was getting good. I've only been outside of what we're watching to talk about. I've been watching Survivor and I've been watching Agatha All Along on Disney Plus, the Marvel
okay.
series. Me and Obi watched that together, so maybe I'll find some time for one of these. I've also
Well,
been watching The Little Couple because their kids are really cute.
what's that?
It's a it's actually still airing. It's a show about two people with dwarfism and they
Okay.
adopted two kids with dwarfism. One is from Asia and one is from India and they have the cutest little family, the little couple.
Oh, that sounds so
Mhm.
nice and wholesome.
It is. The little boy was in Cub Scouts and they did a little like car race. You make a car with your dad and then you race
Oh,
it and he got third place and was really a little boy with his little trophy. There's the cutest little kids ever.
oh, that's sweet.
Um I was just like on YouTube TV for a second, so I started watching it. So I'll watch that like occasionally.
I love that.
Um
On a
yeah.
non-wholesome note, the first part of the Baddies Caribbean reunion is out on Zeus tonight.
Are
So,
you
so if
excited?
anyone, um, my inner child who watched Bad Girls Club was very excited.
Not your inner child. It's you. It's okay, Brandon, that you can watch Bad Girl. You're allowed to watch whatever the fuck
Anyways,
you want. You're grown. No,
it's
I
true.
love how our viewing habits are all over the place. It's kind of
They
cool.
are. It's good to
Oh
have,
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Did Joker come out? Joker is out.
oh, I think it is.
I need to go watch Joker. I'm so excited for Joker.
Okay.
You didn't
Uh,
like the first, did you watch the first one, Brandon?
no. My
Oh my,
parents just watched it.
they have good taste. What's wrong with you?
I don't want, oh, I don't watch anything like Batman, Joker, like
It
Spider-Man, like anything like that.
it's not like a superhero movie where they
I
fight and
know,
there's
but
a
I'm
this is
like,
more of like a biopic, but it's fictional of the Joker and like his origins. It's actually really cool.
this is true.
And Lady Gaga's in it. You don't want to support her?
I
I
support
don't like
Lady
finding ways
Gaga,
to
but I
force
don't
you
know
to
if
watch it.
she doesn't need my support. I know
No,
how the
she's
second
fine.
one ends. Someone spoiled it on
Oh, I was
Instagram.
supposed to say, don't tell me.
I won't. But
Um,
maybe I will at some point watch them.
they're
I'm not
actually
closed
good.
off. The door is not
Okay,
closed.
you told me you're gonna make me watch a movie when you move in. Was it The Notebook?
No, I've
There
never
was a
even seen The
movie.
Notebook.
There was a movie you're like, you have to watch this.
There was.
It wasn't Easy A. We talked about that.
Was
Were
it
you gonna
Bring
make
It
me watch
On?
Veronica? Huh?
Was it Bring It On?
No,
No,
I've seen
you've
that.
seen that.
It
Veronica
wasn't
Mars,
Veronica
no.
Mars.
That's a show. I mean, if you want to watch it, I'll watch Veronica Mars. We gotta find where it's streaming.
There was a movie you're
Um,
like, you have to watch this. And I was
I,
like, okay, I'll watch it with you. It was a
I
very popular movie too.
I remember saying this. I just can't remember what it
Anyway,
was.
well, mine for you will be the Joker. I actually think you'd like. I mean, it's kind of creepy, but like cool. It's
It
cool.
it's cool.
It's
Um,
sad a little, but it's cool.
yeah, I hear it's pretty bleak, but I'll watch with you. Sure.
We'll try it out.
Uh, well, in the meantime, before we get into all that, should we get into the reason for the season?
Let's do it. Love
Y'all,
Island USA Season 2, Episode 29.
30 and 30. Oh, we just doing one by
I
one.
always do that. I always forget to introduce all of them. 29, 30, and 31.
31.
Bro, this season is so freaking long. I was like, if this is because they mentioned that the final recoupling is happening, and I'm like, what else is there to watch?
I know. Well,
Can you
they're
end it
having
already?
the baby
I
simulators,
saw that.
which
That's kind of at this point, they're just giving them shit to do.
basically Um,
But
this
there is a
season is
baby thing.
long, a lot's going on. I will say watching these episodes, because I feel like we haven't watched in a minute, I miss these people. I was like, it was like a warm hug.
I'm so sorry to Love Island fans. I'm so sorry to CBS. I'm done. Like, can y'all just tell me who wins? I
I
mean, it's still interesting, but I'm just like, damn, we got three more to go
it
after this.
that's the thing. I'm like, how are
They
we
were good
having
episodes
three
though.
more? I could see if it was like
Yes.
two more, like get rid of one
Yes.
couple and then the finals. But the fact that it's
Mm-hmm.
three, I am kind of like, okay, y'all, we're dragging it a little bit.
A little bit. I have Love Island fatigue. I'm like, what? Because I think this past season was only 30 episodes. This one goes to 34. Let's see.
I think this
Yeah, this
past
one,
one was like just as long,
really?
right?
I feel like it was, they stopped it at,
We were just in it
um,
though, because it was like live. So maybe it didn't feel that way.
oh,
And
I
we didn't
think I
want it to
canceled
end.
my, yeah. Can you
But
look? I
yeah,
canceled my,
look.
oh no, I can Google it. What am I doing? I'm in
You
front of my
canceled
computer.
Peacock?
Yeah, I'm not watching anything on it. Season
That's where the
6.
housewives are. But I guess if you have YouTube TV.
That goes to show how I feel about Brendan's show
It is.
recommendation.
She just constantly is disrespecting me,
I
y'all.
didn't
This is so
even, Brandon, I
hurtful.
didn't even know. I'm so sorry, Brandon.
You never
37. Never
know.
mind. I'm eating my
37. It's
words.
even
Well,
longer.
it didn't feel as long. This feels long.
It does because I will say with this season, I like it. It's good. Like I like the characters, but it can be very repetitive.
Yes.
Like we've seen the same conversation 18 times with some people.
Yes. And
And
then
then,
they continue to have it again. It's
yeah.
like,
And it's like, I I like Justine. I like Cely. I think I like most of the girls and like some of the guys. One of them actually really grew on me. We can get to that. But their relationships are very two-dimensional on this
mm-hmm.
viewing platform. Whereas I feel like with Peacock, we felt what they felt. We saw the depths. We
Mm,
saw the like nuances, or at least more of it. We felt it more.
yeah. No,
Whereas this
I
one,
agree
I'm
with
like,
you.
you're telling me you love this person, but I don't feel the love.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I feel like we got a lot of layers. Like, even, yeah. And I wonder if it's because there's less to dive into, like less feelings to hash out. Because it's really
Maybe.
only, I feel like we got to know this season six cast because so much happened. Like Rob
Hmm.
is a jerk to Leah. Cordell goes to Casa and shows his ass, so does Aaron. And then Liv has this fight with Leah. And then you know what I mean? Like there's so
Yeah.
many layers between the cast members, like and between their couples. So there was just like a lot of layers where it's just like there's a lot to talk about. Whereas here, I feel like the only drama is Cely and Johnny and
Hmm.
Laurel and Carrington. Like that's like the only, and Laurel and Carrington's drama is very minimal. It's not
Yeah,
a
because
whole
you have
lot.
Carrington who has the personality of like a stamp.
Literally.
And
So
it's
it's just
like,
like
even when he kind of gets in it, you're like, are you on like horse tranquilizers? Like, give us a little life, Carrington.
smile, like open your eyes.
Give us
No, it's
some
true.
oomph. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, it's true. And like,
But
and those things I mentioned about season six weren't even the half of it. There were a lot of other layers, like Hakeem yelling at the girls, and then Connor just switching over to Leah and leaving Janae. Like, there were so many moving parts. I
hmm,
guess season six was just chaotic, and that's
it
why we really
was.
got to see how people felt and stuff,
It was a
The
perfect
games.
storm.
The games I feel like made the drama worse. Like there
Oh
was just
yeah.
a lot. It was the perfect
Everything
storm.
played a part. There was the filler moments were few and far between.
Yes, I
It was like
agree.
there was so much intention, whereas this one, it's like formulaic. Like,
Yeah,
put
because
this here, put that there. And it's like, but where's the feeling?
and
Where's
it
the
almost
love?
seems like production is also trying to figure out stuff to do with them. The game that they did in this one, like okay, I imagine I'm just throwing shit at the wall, but I imagine that the games that they develop in Love Island take a lot of pre-work, right? You probably had to order things and build things
Yeah.
several months in advance. The games that they play at the end of this really seem like, yo, let's get this on Amazon real quick. Let's buy this real quick. Even the babies, like that we're gonna see in the next few episodes, like that just feels like a last minute thing?
Yeah.
Whereas like the games, I feel like in this past season they never looked like that. They never looked so cheap.
This is true. I'll cut some grace because this is during COVID. So maybe it was just like they weren't able to effectively
Get
get certain
stuff.
things.
No, but they had very well developed
This
games.
is
And then
true.
they have these cheap games.
Where it's
So
just
it's
like,
like
we're just
you
gonna start
got stuff.
drama. Rank them most fake to least fake.
Right. Like you guys had 100 cakes for Johnny to smash his head into, right? So then where did you get this little hot and cold stand by the pool?
Right. I will say the pranks the girls had to do made me
Oh,
laugh.
so cute.
I was
That
like,
was funny.
this was funny. And I didn't think it would be. And I was like, oh, I
But
actually
it
enjoy
was.
this.
No, it was really good.
uh, all right, let's dive in. We'll dive into episode 29, which I named Scheme Sister Slay. Um, Carrington asked Bennett about his talk with Kirsten. Oh, yeah, because I guess one of the things we left off with was Kirsten being like, I was so relieved you didn't pick me in that game because I
She's like,
realized I didn't want to be with you.
yeah. He was like, yeah, I did that to like make you jealous. And she's like, and why would that be a good
I
idea?
love Kirsten. I need to find her on Instagram so I can follow her.
hmm
Um, and he mentioned, I tried to rekindle things, but it didn't really work out. But I'm interested in Laken. And Carrington's like, you should definitely pursue her. And like, he, t- I think he's talking to us at this point. He's like, I give him my blessing to like speak to her because he has a right to speak to anyone, even if I'm talking to them, you know?
Thanks, Carrington. And Bennett, where did these feelings come from? I thought if anyone,
Good
Bennett would talk
question.
to Moira.
Yeah, they're the only other like two we kind of saw talk to each other, or with
Yeah.
him at least. That's funny. You said thanks, Carrington, because that's literally what I wrote in my notes. I was like, thanks, Carrington. Love that. Kirsten tells Laurel not to stress about things she can't change. And Laurel's like, I'm just scared to talk to him about everything. I'm like, well, that's a bad sign. I
Mm.
think this is your sign. You could
Hmm.
read it, you could not.
Hmm.
Um, what we learned about Laurel is I think she likes to win and is seeking maybe male validation.
Really? I'm trying to. Okay, you let me know when we see. I want to understand why you're saying that.
There was one part in particular, I forget when it comes up, but when it does, I'll let you know. I think I
I
wrote it
mean,
down.
she has mentioned that she's been cheated on and stuff, so maybe like that's kind of a part of it. Like she wants to be chosen. I don't know if
Yeah,
validation.
that's true. She wants Carrington's validation.
For some reason,
She
this
needs
girl really wants Carrington to
she
approve of her.
needs it. And I'm like, I guess with Carrington, and it's with he's just the emotionless one. So it's like if you get his validation, it's like such a success. And like, oh my gosh, I did that. He reminds me
Yeah.
kind of like this guy, not as cool though. My mom's soap opera, she watches General Hospital. There's Jason
Yeah.
Morgan, and he was Sonny Corintos's left-hand man. And he always had a
Hmm.
leather jacket and jeans, and he was just like stone face. And they were just like, oh my gosh, we just love Jason. And then like he showed like no emotions, but like all the girls would be
Like
after him. And I
it's
was like,
always the ones who are the least emotionally available that women swoon over. It's like, you look like you hate me. I really, really like you though.
I need you.
And it's
Uh,
like, girl,
get it
you're barking
together.
up the wrong tree.
Right. Um, Maggie's working on her for the YouTube
My ring
viewers.
light just
Maggie's
died.
working on her ring light.
And I have like
Um,
100 cords in front of me. Here we go. Hold
ah,
on.
she got it.
I got it.
Oh, she got this. We're good, y'all. This is just admin, this is showing you all that we're people and
With
sometimes
electricity that sometimes goes out. No, I mean, with lights that sometimes
randomly turn
lose their
off.
fuse.
Yes,
Yes.
there she
All
is. Look
right,
at her
we're good.
go. Uh, but
Look at the chords. Like I have 5 different chords in front of me.
that's
Okay.
funny. Um, Laken tells the girls she held Carrington's hand, but feels bad for Laurel. Um, and then everyone goes to bed.
Pretty much. And then Carrington was like saying to somebody that Laurel's been ignoring him. Um
I think was it who was it? Was it Johnny? I don't
Johnny or
remember.
maybe
Maybe Caleb
Calvin.
or
Yeah.
Calvin. Insert any
Oh,
guy because they didn't say anything back. Um,
no, they didn't. They were just like listening. And then or maybe they did say something back and we just didn't hear it. And then that night though, I noticed that Calvin and Moira were making out in bed and I was like, "Oh, this is different."
they're starting to do it more and more.
They are. They're so annoying to me because Calvin's like, "I don't like kissing you specifically." And now they're like trying it out and I'm like, "But you guys, I don't know." Not that if it's not your first choice, you can't go back on it, but just seems like, is it genuine? I just wonder about them.
I wonder if maybe he was just uncomfortable being filmed and doing it.
That makes sense.
It is kind of weird when you think about it,
Yeah.
how
It seems
everyone's
like they
just
only
all
make
over each
out in the
other
dark.
in the
Yeah.
dark. This is true.
When the lights are off.
When the lights are off, they're
If
like,
he was
it's
smart,
time.
he'd cover them with a blanket so it really isn't filmed. But I
Right.
get it. Everybody and their mom can see, and your mom can watch you here.
Right. And as we'll find out in a later episode, they're watching all of the
Yep.
parents. But it's the next day, and the Carrington's talking. He's like, the girls will say one thing to me about pursuing Laken, but act different when Laurel's around. And I'm like, well, Carrington, that's called human decency. So they're not going to be in front of Laurel and be like, you are so much better with Laken.
Right, like what do you want them to do? Make out, make out. Like, what do you want
Do
them
it.
to do? Hype you up? Or tell Laurel, stop moping around the villa, bitch. Like,
She's
what do you
literally
want them
crying in every spot there is to
to
sit. Laurel's there crying in full beat. Just
do?
like, oh, I can't believe this.
But he loathes her feelings. And I'm like, but she's allowed to feel them. Come on, Carrington. Be a human for 10 seconds. You were
Right?
in your feelings about her talking to somebody else too.
And you don't speak in general. So like, why are you annoyed when someone else doesn't speak? Anyways, we'll
Mm-hmm.
get to that. Um, Carrington does say that Laurel ignoring him is turning him off, and it makes it easier for him to switch.
Which I then call your stupid bluff. Dumb. I don't know, man.
Right?
You're
We'll
you're
make like a
saying that.
Nintendo and switch.
We will see if you switch, Carrington.
We'll see. But Sally gets a text, and this is where the girls have to complete secret missions. And when they got this text, I was like, great, a filler episode. But then,
Hmm.
as I was saying earlier, I was like, this is actually kind of funny. And
No, it is. It
I was
is.
like, this is good. Laurel's first one is she has to convince the boy to inflate a pool floaty. She brings a huge pineapple, brings it to the kitchen where like Johnny and Sally are, I think a couple other people, and she just sits on it and purposefully deflates it. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. What did I do wrong? This is crazy.
Hmm.
Johnny, will you inflate this, please? I need it. I can't do it, Johnny, please." And he's like, "I think you'll need a pump." And she's like, "Johnny, but I'm going through something. Can't you please?" And he's like, "All right." And I'm like,
He
"Okay,
just
Johnny,
sticks
make
his
yourself
hand out. He's
useful."
like, give it to me.
I was like, good to know. You know, Johnny, he has his flaws, but at least he'll come through sometimes.
She
Um,
couldn't have picked a bigger inflatable. I think
I
that
know,
was the
right?
biggest. Like, you could have picked a different floaty, girl.
A ball or just like something, just like the
Something.
normal ring thing that
It
you
just needed
do.
to be inflatable. It didn't have to be the largest thing. And Johnny is like huffing and puffing for a minute.
This killed me, and this is when Calvin won me over because
Oh
Calvin's
yeah.
just sitting here in an interesting fit and just looks at him like this. It's just like, what are you doing? And then I think
What are
it's this
you
way. Oh, that's
doing,
us.
Johnny?
And it's just like,
Can you zoom in?
yes, let me see. Sorry, I can barely see because of my ring light, y'all. So give me a second.
That's
It's
so
too good.
funny.
I'm like, that was the funniest shit ever. Because he's like going
Mhm.
in, inflating it. And he does do it though. Like eventually. I'm like, okay, that must have taken a lot of work. Um, and they're like, slow down when you wake up though, or when you get up though, Johnny, so you don't pass out.
Yeah, he's like, I haven't eaten. I'm gonna be lightheaded.
Yeah. And then it cuts to the confessionals, and the girls are like, scheme sisters.
Scheme sisters.
Um, Moira needs to get someone to feed her grapes.
This is pathetic.
It
Uh,
is because she's just sitting there and the grapes are like right in front of her. And then like she's like, "Can someone feed me the grapes?" And they're like, they're right in front of you. And she's like, "Yeah, but can someone feed them to me?"
hmm
And they like won't. And then Caleb eventually does, and he like shoves the whole thing of grapes in her
He
mouth.
puts like three with the stem in her mouth. And yeah, I guess a bunch of people are just walking past her, ignoring her. I thought that was really funny.
That was. Um, it cuts to Laurel telling Julia she just wants to get her chat with Carrington over with, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Justine has to kiss all the boys. So she like goes up and like kisses the boys on the cheek and it's funny. And then she has to like, she kind of picks up the girls to distract them. I thought it was funny when she interrupted Johnny's confessional
That
and
was
he was like,
hilarious.
"Are you allowed to be here?"
We broke the fourth wall for a second.
Yes.
And she's like, I just want to talk about my best friend's boyfriend who's making her so happy, and I love you, Johnny. And she like that's how she gives everybody a kiss on the cheek. Her attempting to kiss Carrington was so funny to me because he's like dodging.
He's like, "What are you doing? Can you
He's
do
like,
this?"
that was weird. He even said out loud, that was weird. Something's going on. Like, there's something's weird's going on today.
That was
He's like,
funny.
get away from me,
What
Justine.
are you
Almost
doing?
broke his back trying to dodge her.
Uh, Laken has to cuddle with the boy in bed, and she pulls Carrington in to like talk, and then kind of gives him like an awkward hug in the bed.
Yeah.
And I have a suspicion that this is where he made his choice that he didn't want to be with her.
He's like, this is the first time we haven't meshed, and nothing has felt like sparks. Because he got up and he was like, this was weird.
That was awkward. She kind of like brought me in, and then I was like, I'm down, but then she didn't, and I'm like, I'm just confused, and I just don't understand, and I don't think I like her anymore. Like, hey. Julia has to spill water on a guy, and she picks Calvin, and his reaction was funny, and I was like, Calvin, you're stepping up for me. I like this.
Yeah. I guess she was like, he thought I was flirting with him, but I don't care. It's fine. It was funny, because he looked really upset, but she did it perfectly. This was, I feel like, the only scheme that didn't look all like rehearsed or like it
Yeah,
was pretty subtle, but granted, it's like the most subtle thing you could do is drop water on somebody.
right, because she kind of had it open a little, and it was like spilling, and then it just all
Mm-hmm.
spilled, and it was she did it
Mm-hmm.
smooth. And then Sally has to get the guys to dive in the pool. And she's literally just able to line them up and be like, okay, three, two, one, swan dive. And
Mm-hmm.
she like tells the girl, she's like, men are the most simple-minded creatures ever.
They are. No, it's funny how like all the boys just kind of do what I mean, they have nothing to do anyway. But she was like, it's funny how they could just do whatever she asked them to.
Yeah. Calvin gets a text and reveals that all the girls' missions and what they had to do, and it was a funny moment. And they're all like laughing. And it's like they want an ice cream social. And I'm like, they're like, here, y'all, here's some ice cream. We know we don't feed you.
It
Here you
was
go.
mid ice cream. It was like popsicles and ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah. I was like, no Sundays.
Nothing.
Uh,
No toppings.
nope. Not in the budget.
Not
Uh,
in the budget.
Moira does get a text as well, though. And it's a recoupling tonight where the boys choose. And Bennett takes this very seriously. He talks
Mm-hmm.
to everyone. He talks to Lakin, and he's like, honestly, I've been attracted to you since you came in. And at first, to me, she didn't seem that into him because he would like give her a compliment. She'd be like, "Aw, that's so sweet. Aw, aw." But then she
Mm-hmm.
does say she's like, "Oh, like, coming in, he was in her top and still is, and she likes Carrington, but isn't sure what he's gonna do."
Yeah.
Like, okay. Justine and Caleb chat. She tells him about having to escape to Congo during the war and how she moved to Kenya for 4 years. And then they talk about their siblings and they just like to keep letting each other in more. And it's sweet.
Yeah. This is the only depth we get. I feel
It
like
is.
season 6, we got a lot of conversation. I don't know. I just feel like this season in particular, some people have deep talks. We get to learn about their lives. Other people just say, I'm glad I get to know you and I want to get to know you. Where
I
they
can't
probably
wait to
are
spend
having
time
deep,
with you outside.
yeah. And they probably are having deep chats. They're just not showing it for some reason. They're really showing Justine and Caleb because I think they've already picked their winner. If Justine and Caleb don't win, something must have happened.
That part, they are getting a winner's edit, in my opinion, too.
Definitely.
So, Bennett pulls Julia for a chat and he's like, I think I could build something with you. Um, and she's like, I like talking to you, and I'm really, really interested in you. And then this is where Bennett just keeps going, like, I'm just so stressed. Like, this is
Yeah,
just
he's like,
too
I'm not
much.
sure.
And I'm like,
I
calm
don't know what
down.
to
Give
do.
Bennett a little bit of fucking power. And like, Jesus. He's like, I just can't
Yeah,
handle this. It's like too
he
much.
can't.
I'm like,
He's
please,
stressed out. Give him
spare me.
a decision to pick one person, and he's like, "What do I do?"
I've connected with no one. And the one person I did like and tried to make jealous dumped me and said she was glad I didn't pick her.
So where do I go from here?
Where do we go from here? But Carrington and Laurel finally chat. Thank God. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she asks how he's feeling, and he immediately goes, well, how are you feeling? I'm like, can
Yep.
you ever just answer a question like yourself and just like
I feel like he wants to know how she's feeling first so he can figure out what he needs to say. Because if he's like, "Oh,
Exactly.
I'm feeling great," then she's like, "Well, I've been crying all afternoon." So he's like, "You just tell me where you're at, and then I can tailor my reactions or my response to, you know."
Yeah, well, because that's how he's really feeling. He's not hurt. He's
He's
fine.
fine.
Carrington's
He's fine.
okay. He's like, this is
He's
great.
fine.
I have two blondes. I'm gonna pick Laken. This is amazing. But Laurel
Hmm.
has to get emotional, so let's talk to her. And I
And she's
can't look
turning
like an
me off
asshole.
because she has all these feelings.
And I was like, oh my gosh, enough. I should have brought Mercedes back. Um, but they do agree the last 2 days were terrible. He caused it, but doesn't know where they stand. And she says he can get to know people, but if it's not her, she understands, but it hurts.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're a perfect girl in my eyes, but I met someone where something's there and I'm just confused. And she's like, why
Hmm.
the fuck are you confused? I just wish you weren't.
Hmm.
I'm
The
like, well,
confusion hurts, but I get it. And this
yeah.
is where we get the big girls don't cry while while
Big
Laurel
girls
cries.
don't cry. Uh, but they make up though, which is nice.
Hmm.
Bennett throws a Hail Mary and chats with Kirsten, and she's like, I said what I said. I don't like you. But if you want to bring a friend, cool.
Basically,
And I'm like,
Kirsten's not with the
period.
shits.
She's not. Carrington and Lake in chat, and she says she vibes with Bennett, but wishes he would have been this open earlier, and says she doesn't
Hmm.
care because what she has with Carrington is real. And this is where Carrington says he wonders if he should follow his gut and pick Lakin because she's better for him. And then Lakin's like, I hope you pick me. And I'm like,
Basically,
so basically, it's
she's like,
like, you want to pick Lakin. This is where we're
yeah.
leaving off. Like, you like Lakin more and you want to be with Lakin.
Hmm. And she's like, I really hope you pick me then.
Right.
Basically, trying to reiterate, yes, and I am the one who should be picked.
And it's me.
And it's me. Yeah, it's interesting. This makes me feel like Bennett's not genuine because I'm like, when did you like her? She's like, he literally like didn't give me the vibe that he liked me at all until he told me today, and I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even remember if they had talked before this episode. I don't.
No.
And because he was really only talking to Kirsten. So I was like, maybe we just didn't see it. But even she's like, this is random.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of conversations that we don't see, but I don't think he was giving off the vibes that he like liked her until just now, I guess.
Yeah. But we get to the nighttime and it's basically a montage. They're like getting ready. They're talking about how
Hmm.
worried they are about everything. And Carrington is, I think, talking to the guys, and he's like, I feel like there's a good chance Laurel will go home tonight.
Yeah.
Or he said something like that.
He
And
does. He's like, he's not sure what Laurel leaving will do to him.
yeah. And I'm like, interesting. But
Yeah.
then
And
Kier,
then but then he's oh
oh no, you go.
sorry.
Sorry.
Later they show him again and he's like, I'm confident in my choice. And I'm like, I don't know.
I think Carrington just says words.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. But Kirsten feels like she has a very big chance of going home.
Hmm.
Laurel says if Carrington picks her, she will be able to move past everything. And then this is where I ask, is this what they call a pick me? She's like, if you pick me, I'll forgive you. And I'm like,
Actually, what is a pick me? I thought a pick me is just somebody who just like wants to be picked.
well, I think a pick me is like those girls that are like, oh yeah, I'm not like other girls, like, oh, I can hang out with the guys, like that type of thing. And I wouldn't say Laurel's that.
Yeah. It's
Laurel's like
like
a
they work
trad wife
hard.
pick me.
Trad wife pick me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like she's like, I don't know. I feel like a pick me is somebody who's doing stuff specifically for you to pick them. Like laughs at all your jokes, blah 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 blah, does whatever.
Yeah.
And it's giving that energy a little bit, but I look at her and I'm like, why do you want him to pick you, girl?
She's like a
After what you just
passive
went
pick
through.
me. She's not trying
Yeah.
to, she's just like, well, I hope he picks me. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
change. Which I guess is good. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she really wants Carrington's love, approval,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something. But
Yeah.
Ariel enters and she looks good in the white sequence. I was like, okay, Ariel, look at you.
Mm-hmm.
And the girls line up and Calvin's up first. He picks Moira.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny picks Sally. Kayla picks Justine. Those are like the predictable ones. But
Mm-hmm.
then Carrington's next, and he instantly fumbles his words, which I think was
Mm-hmm.
funny. Um,
He's like shaking too. He
he
looked really
is. I'm
scared.
like, damn, Carrington, relax.
Mm-hmm.
But he says he needs to do what's right for him, and this girl always puts others before himself, and he never has before. He's a little self-aware. Um,
Nice, Carrington progress.
right. And he says he doesn't want to go through this experience without her. And then he chooses da 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 Laurel. And I'm
I
like
was, yeah. You're like, what?
shocked. Oh, I was gonna say
No, me
shocked.
too. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
This,
I mean, I knew he was gonna pick Laurel because when I looked for pictures or thumbnails, I saw that they were
uh,
together at one point
yeah.
and Laken was with Bennett. Oh, spoiler alert. Um, but
Laken chooses Bennett, or Bennett chooses
Bennett
Laken.
chooses Laken. Um, but I wouldn't have thought that watch had I not known that and just watched what we saw.
Yeah, like him getting mad that she's mad is like the epitome of just, okay, I'm done. But I don't know if production talked to him, talked some sense into him, because even his speech is interesting. Like this person puts themselves before or puts others before themselves, and I don't often do that. And you just like, where'd you get that from? I mean, Laurel is like that because from her last conversation, she was like, do what's best for you, I'll be upset, but like I understand if that's where you want to go. So
Yeah.
she kind of had closure with him in the most positive way, and maybe that made him wake up. But all of his behavior pointed at Lakin. I really thought he was gonna pick Lakin.
Same, but when Laurel goes to him, she basically runs and they tell each other that I love you. And I'm like,
Do
damn,
they?
I didn't know y'all were at that point. I think
Oh, I
she's like, I
must have
love
missed
you. And
that.
he goes, I love you more. Something like that. I'm like, okay, I guess y'all are deeper
Hmm.
than we thought. Now I
I
understand why
mean,
she's so upset. She's like, y'all saying I love you to each other and
yeah.
you're putting her through this.
I don't know if it's just like I love you or like I love you,
I have
but
feelings for you that start with an
yeah.
L, love. I was gonna say like, but
So
sure.
it's interesting to see them come to this conclusion, but they're together and she's happy about it.
She is. And then Bennett picks Lakin. And this is where we say goodbye to Kirsten and Julia. And I'm
We
sad to see
do.
Kirsten go.
Mm-hmm.
But she says, she's like, look, I'm going home with my head held high and a ton of new
Mm-hmm.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then
She was
Ariel,
saying, oh,
oh no,
she was
you
just
go.
saying she wanted Carrington, but she's proud of herself because she's gotten to the point where she like supports his relationship with other people,
Mm-hmm.
with Laurel, and she like has grown as a person. And I was like, that's
She has.
nice.
I'm like, period. Go you, Kirsten. You'll be missed.
Mm-hmm.
And Ariel did say this is the final recoupling. So nearing
I'm
the
very
end.
surprised that it's the final recoupling.
I mean, surprises and it took too long. Or
Surprised because last week we were talking and I thought that since the girls went, the female bombshells came in first, so I thought each group, men and women, would have the equal number of bombshells come in. So it started with female bombshells and ended with female bombshells. I thought that they would bring in male bombshells again.
maybe, but remember when
But
they brought the guys, it was like three. And the girls, I feel like it's only ever been like two or one. And then
they brought in three. Oh, you're right. But one went home. Surprisingly. Yeah, I just thought that they would get like equal number turns, regardless of how
Yeah.
many people came in. But whatever.
Hey, you know,
It's
they
ending.
they got to get moving. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Julia says, this is how it's meant to be, and like she's not upset, and we're like, okay, bye. Didn't
Bye,
really see much from
Julia.
Julia, but
We didn't get to really get to know her. She seemed nice.
she did. And so they go, and Moira even says she's like, Kirsten's basically an OG, and she is, because she literally like was the one of the first bombshells.
Yeah.
Like what, like the third day maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is where the announcer says that America has to vote for a couple to go to the hideaway. Maggie, who did you
Yeah.
vote for?
Justine and Caleb.
Same. Uh, so we cut to episode 30. Bridge over
Yeah.
troubled Lakens. And Carrington.
Wow, Brandon.
I like that title.
I do
Um,
too. It's very creative.
Carrington, shockingly, gives a toast for Kirsten and calls her a strong-willed, independent woman that has a lot going for her. And then Sally goes, also for Julia.
This long thing. Kirsten was one of a kind. We will remember her fall. And Julia, cheers.
And Julia. She said, Julia. I'm like, okay, at least y'all didn't forget her.
Oh, we didn't mention this, but Carrington and Kirsten had like a small moment of like
Oh,
saying bye to each
yes,
other.
they
He
did.
like gave her a hug and was like, I wish you the best. I hope you find love. And she's like, thank you. So they like, and then he said he did feel, or is that next? I heard him say he felt weird
Um,
with her leaving.
did I skip? I know he did say. Oh yeah, he said that then too. He says he feels guilt.
Yeah, he felt a little guilty because
Mm-hmm.
she left. Um,
Yeah, which
felt
I
like kind
mean,
of responsible. I
he
mean,
should.
I don't think so. She had her chance to
I
find
mean,
somebody.
he should just feel guilty for being himself in general.
Oh yeah, he should
But
feel guilty for things. I don't think this thing, but yeah,
yeah.
being a jerk to Kirsten,
But her going
being a jerk.
home, no. It's kind of
Yeah.
like she like didn't want to get to know. I mean, she wasn't really feeling anyone, so it was just kind of like, why would she get to know anyone? I don't know.
Yeah. And I wonder, had Kirsten, who do you think Kirsten was there for?
I think because she even I think said like it was always Carrington. Because I remember she
There's nobody else
said,
we see.
I think she had said Johnny maybe in the beginning, but he was always with
Yeah.
Sally.
Yeah.
And then she kind of had a thing
Because
with Calvin, but that seemed weird.
it did. Because
So,
there's supposed to be like a person for everyone. And it's like, let's see
oh
if you end up
yeah, I see
coupling
what
for
you
them.
mean.
Like,
Honestly, I
who
think
was,
it was Carrington. But Carrington's so fucking stupid because they're so similar that like they're kind
yeah,
of
because
like because they're kind of
mhm.
like I mean, she'll say it herself. She's like a little vain and shallow.
They both are. Yeah, they're very,
So it's kind of
they are very similar.
uh,
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I just feel like I'm trying to think through all the guys. I literally can't remember them, but I feel like there was somebody else that could have been like a good match for her
like a
had she been
Casa
Oma.
guy or like a
Maybe.
bombshell or OG.
Yeah, because you don't want to be so similar. They are very similar, but you don't want to be so similar. And honestly, I don't even realize, I don't really even know why he lost interest in her. It just kind of happened where he was just
Yeah.
like, I don't, I think we should be friends. And he just stopped feeling it. And I don't really know what he probably said something, but it didn't sound legit. I don't know what his reasons were. I know he didn't like her lifestyle, but that wasn't, I don't know if that was a deal breaker or not.
It was, I think, literally when she started to like him more. He was
Oh,
like,
she asked for more affection and stuff,
yeah,
and he was like, absolutely not. You need too
I
much.
cannot believe you asked me to give more than what I already have to offer. This is
Right.
too much. Bye. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
There probably was a guy for her in the villa, but how he behaved in the villa is not what casting thought he would do. Like imagine if
Probably.
it was Connor or something. Connor is an actor. I don't even know where his feelings are at. But maybe in production, they're like, oh, he would be really good for, I wonder who it was.
Yeah, Connor. What an interesting one. Um, but they all do an arm chug for Kirsten because Kirsten would always
Mm.
do that thing where it's like the
Mm-hmm.
glass and like chug it. She would always spill it
Mm-hmm.
though. Oh, Kirsten, she had so much charm.
She's
Um,
such an interesting personality. Like she's very tough, very kind of closed off, but like quirky and goofy. They showed her doing that arm thing like 100 times.
they did. She gives me such like VH1 reality star that I like love it. Like I could see her on
Yeah.
Rock of Love. I could see her
Yeah.
like on I Love Money
Mm-hmm.
or like one of those other shows, maybe even I don't even know. But I like her. I wonder if she did any other shows after this. I don't think she
Yeah.
did Love Games, but maybe.
Yeah.
Um the host calls Carrington Confusington, and that made me laugh.
That was so funny. That was my favorite.
The host had some good moments these episodes. Um, but Laurel says she was shocked he picked her. And she was like, I was 50-50. And he's like, well, that's decent odds. And I'm like,
No, it's
in what fucking
not.
world is that decent odds, Carrington?
I heard him say that too, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, he can't acknowledge anything that would make him acknowledge her feelings. Like, oh, you were probably worried, you were stretched, you thought it was 50-50. 50-50 is not so bad.
He's like,
Any moment
there
you
were
get to
two
invalidate her
girls, so
feelings.
50-50. Yeah. And it's like,
Great
no,
odds.
Carrington,
It's like
no.
you or not you. If it was like, he's
If it
so
was like
annoying.
even 80-20, that would have been better. But 50-50, it's like she's pretty sure you are not picking her.
Yeah.
But she says she thought he had something with Lake, or he says he thought he had something with Laken and he was wrong, and him and Laurel are perfect. And I was like, this is quite the switch up because
Yeah.
did something happen? I don't think so
Right.
based
Like
off
what
what we're
made
gonna
you
see, but
Yeah. What made you just decide and change your I really feel like it was production. Hey, bro, I don't know. Or maybe he had a talk with Caleb. Maybe he thought through it, like did the pros and cons. I don't know.
Caleb's like,
They
a producer came up to me and said, you need to pick Laurel. And he's like, oh, I guess I
Well,
must.
with the edit Carrington is getting, if he did come to like a personal realization and be like, I am kind of shallow, like he said, I am kind of shallow. I only think about myself. They wouldn't show it because it would be too redeeming. And they have
This is
this edit
true.
of him as an asshole. So he probably had some moment where he was like, you're right. She's a really good person. And I'm like, she's been really good to me. And,
Yeah.
they wouldn't show him coming to that.
And he did mention before something like, I don't know what it would be like without Laurel. And maybe that did freak him out. And he was like,
Yeah.
wait, I need her here. And that
Yeah.
decided it for him.
Yeah,
But I
because
mean, I
maybe he
don't
thought
know.
of their history, how much time they've spent together, how much they've gotten to know each other.
Yeah. But this is where Laurel says, and this is where I was kind of like, oh, does she need male validation? She goes, I got the guy, so I'm happy. And I'm like, okay, Laurel, want more
Oh,
for yourself.
oh,
Want
I get what you
more.
mean.
Want more than Carrington. You deserve more than Carrington, Laurel.
I was taking it like she was not sure if he would pick her, and he picked her, so she's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's interesting.
uh Bennett and Lake in chat, and they say they're
Oh,
both
so
excited.
good.
She doesn't know why she didn't try and talk with him sooner. And she's like, my friends and family would love you. And I'm like, is she acting? Like, when the fuck, where are you? What is happening? You have shown no
Yeah.
interest in Bennett, even when he talked to you at first.
She was like, before she came, Bennett was her, well, while she was watching, Bennett was her number one.
Yeah.
I
And
was
I'm
like,
like,
both of you are just like, wait, Spark. Oh, I haven't paid attention, but
wait, I'm
now I
actually
notice there's
so
somebody else here.
obsessed with you. Like,
I
this is
like you a lot.
amazing. I like
Oh
you
my
more
gosh.
than anyone. I think we're the top couple.
I think we're number one.
It's like,
They're
okay.
annoying.
Uh,
And he's like, I'm excited to cuddle with you. Okay, guys, have fun doing that and getting to know each other. But don't make it seem like you've been obsessed and thinking about it the whole time.
right. Be like, oh, okay, this should be interesting to explore. Not like, oh my gosh, this is all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
Um, it's Sally and Johnny are talking, and she's like, I feel very grateful, and she never thought this would happen. He asks about her
Mhm.
family for once, and she says it was hard growing up and cries.
I thought about that too. Like, yo, y'all are about to leave and you have not discussed
That was the
how she
thing.
feels about her family.
I was like, because it seemed very much like he didn't know, and I was like, it's almost the
Yeah,
end. How do you not know?
right.
But she opens up about how she does everything for her mom, and she had cancer twice and hasn't been able to work since she was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. And he says the way she cares for her family makes him so much more attracted to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's nice, but I feel like you could have said that differently.
Yeah,
Or maybe because it's Johnny. I'm like, don't say that.
right.
Stop it. Um, Kayla brings Justine up to the rooftop to see if they can see his girlfriend from there.
Brandon, I knew you were gonna start all this nonsense. Can we just pause? Okay, we'll put it out there and then just chill because we don't know.
I
You're
wrote
ruining
JK kind
everything.
of. I wrote JK kind of in the notes.
Brandon has it there where Brandon heard a rumor that Caleb had a girlfriend while he was on the show. And so every time Caleb does something, Brandon's like, he's like, Justine, I really like you. And Brandon goes, he really likes his girlfriend too.
I can't wait till after the season's over to look at like all the
I
tea
want to
and
know what
stuff.
happens, but
I
just chill
know.
out for now. They had a nice moment that the producer or the
They
moderator
did.
kind of makes fun of, but it was actually kind of cute.
It was sweet. They're like looking out, and he's like, I'm with the goat right now. And she's like, I love your
Mm-hmm.
speech. And he's like, this is just
Mm-hmm.
our first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I don't need a title. I don't need to drop L bombs. And he's like, remember when we were dressed up for that Zodiac party? And the card said,
Mm-hmm.
are they in love? And they said, absolutely, or something like that. He's like, was that true? And they're both like, the cards were right.
Mm-hmm.
How sweet.
Yeah. It was cute. The view looked mid because he's like, I want to take you up here. And it was like a place where you could kind of see the Vegas like skyline.
Mm,
But like they showed us the view and like half the lights were off. And I'm like, I know that's not what they're looking at. Because it
right.
actually looked nice. But it was sweet. He was like, I want to do something nice with you while with the time that we have left. And they just keep getting closer and closer. Keep getting this amazing winner's edit. It was
They
very sweet.
they are. It is really sweet. And then I think they're all just getting ready for bed. And Laurel's telling Moira how she was like worried. Justine and Cely are like, we're so lucky. How do we get so lucky?
Yeah.
And then everyone goes to bed.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh. Then the next day, Cely wakes up really early and runs to get pots and pans. And she wakes everyone up with it. And I'm like, I cannot with you, Cely.
Yeah.
And Caleb goes, beat her ass. And Justine goes and takes the pots and pans. I'm like, that was funny
And they
though.
like play fight. It was funny, but I was like, damn, Sally, that's obnoxious. I feel like production put her up to it because the lights turned on right after she started banging on the pans.
Oh yeah, she probably got up early and then a producer was like, look, you know it would be funny, pots and pans. And she's like, bet, you're right.
Or they're
She's
like,
like,
tomorrow morning, as soon as you wake up, go get the pans, and then we'll turn the lights on right after. It'll be so funny.
yes.
I just know I would hate Sally, man. I hate when people wake me up like
I
that, especially.
yeah, they all look scared. It was too much. I was like,
They
Sally,
did.
no.
They did. In the confessional, Justine is still in her pajamas, and she's like, I thought there was an emergency. I thought something bad was happening.
Ugh. Laken and Laurel are glad that they can talk now and be friends. And
Hmm.
Laken tells us that Carrington played her and made Laurel feel so bad, and she would smack him if she was Laurel. I'm like, period.
Yeah. While she's getting ready, she tells the girl, she's like, yeah, today's gonna be a good day, but I think I need to be a bitch today. And I was like, all right, Lakin, what you got? Show us what you got.
And you do. Um, Calvin makes Moira some breakfast, and I wrote down exactly how he said it because I just found it so peculiar.
What?
He's like, some sunny side up action on a lightly crusted piece of toast. I'm like, what?
I noticed that too. I was like, I think he's trying to sound like a chef presenting something, but it was cute. He's like, I just wanted to eat with you. And she's like, oh. And
Yeah.
I'm like, where has this boy been this whole time?
I don't know.
Calvin,
He's done a
now you
180.
want to charm her. Now you want to make breakfast. You were coupled up with her for like 6 years.
He's like, we're at the end and a winner is going to be decided. I'm trying to get that money,
Right.
honey.
He's like, I actually realized I like you. And it's okay. Look, it's fine. It took some time for you to figure out you liked her and stuff. I just am a little annoyed that you didn't notice this the first time you had a chance before you guys paired up with like three different people and came back to each other.
Yeah, I agree. When they talk about wanting kids and she wants 3 kids, and then she reveals how she was a happy mistake, as her mom would say.
Yes.
And I'm like, same.
He's kind of annoying because she's like, I want 3 kids, a boy and a girl. And he goes, that's 2. And she's like, and then the confused. And I'm like, damn, Calvin, let her
Well,
have
that's
three
only
kids.
2. So
That's only 2, bitch. Keep counting, Moira.
keep going up. All right. Um, Justine has everyone take a dance lesson, which is kind of fun. And of course, Johnny's being a try hard. I'm like,
I didn't
hey,
notice.
I was like, he was just trying, he was too serious. I was like, okay, Johnny, it's supposed to be fun. Um, but him and Cely talk about life outside the villa, and they're like, I just think about like getting a coffee with you. And she's like, I think the same. And I'm like, okay. They're like, and then we
Maybe
would
it's
go
something
to
they
the
both pictured
store.
doing. Yeah.
I guess. But he did say something funny where he's like, I just thought of you screaming inside of a smaller building. And I was like, that was kind of funny.
And Sally's like, yes, I'm what do they call her? Bird Sally? Sally Bird. I'm Sally
Oh,
Bird. I'm loud. I don't care. And I was like, me.
yeah.
I'm so loud.
You are
I,
Sally.
I'm Sally AF. I'm so loud. I mean, I don't know if I would do pots and pans, but I would definitely do something obnoxious like
Yeah,
that.
no, you wouldn't do pots and pans,
Not
but
first thing in the morning, maybe in the afternoon.
yeah. Carrington and Lake in chat, and the host calls
Oh no,
him
wait, Brandon.
a what?
They also start discussing the
Which,
price of beef jerky.
oh yeah,
Sally
that
and Johnny are so rich. See, this is what they've been talking about instead of her family. So he's like, why is beef jerky so expensive? And Johnny's like, I know, it's just so expensive. She's like, I should be president and I will make sure that the price of beef jerky goes down. And she's like, would you vote for me? And he's like, no. And she's like, why? And he's like, because then you wouldn't have enough time to spend with me. And I was like, this is their dynamic.
this is them.
This
Yes.
is the if I was a worm, would you still love me? Like stupid conversations like that.
Right. God bless them. Um,
Right?
but Carrington and Lake in chat, and the host calls him Unclearington. And I was like, that was
Unclear.
funny.
It was great.
But she tells him he should act because you're like a great actor. I'm like, good one, Laken. Uh,
Yeah.
but she's like, you made it seem like you would pick me. And honestly, I'm just glad Bennett chose me because he would never do that. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
hurt, I'm just mad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
She's like,
like,
you were holding my hand and stuff. The speech sounded like you were talking
yeah.
about me.
Yeah, said he's like he did want to choose her and was going to. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm like, okay, so why didn't you? Like, what do you
And then he was
mean?
like, I mean, we held hands. I'm sorry if the hand holding led you on. And I'm like, oh, you couldn't be more, you couldn't be less sorry that the hand holding led her on. You're talking about it like, oh, sorry if the hand holding
I
was
must have,
too
I know I
intimate.
did hold your hand once, so like I'm sorry that that made you think more. My bad. It's like
And Lakin's not having it.
she's like, it's not leading me on, you're just like annoying. And like the what you put Laurel through, like that's crazy. She's like the sweetest girl. And you validated ultimately what I thought before coming in here. And he's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Because I like changed my mind. And she's like, no, because you made it seem like you were gonna pick me and then randomly didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, ultimately I felt dumb. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what Carrington will do to you.
He will. I mean, and I don't blame her for saying this. All of the things she said are valid. He definitely made it seem like you were gonna pick her. You definitely seemed like you were really into her. You spent a whole day not talking to Laurel because Laurel wasn't speaking to you. Like you guys are being petty and stuff, and then at the last minute you did choose. So stand on it, you know?
Yeah, and he's just like giving like vague answers and not really getting into like why he did what he did. But what
Yeah.
can you expect from Carrington, I guess?
I mean, they kind of go to commercial and just jump to something else. So maybe the conversation was longer, but yeah.
Maybe.
I like Lakin. I like people who will like ask the questions we want to hear.
I
Make the
agree.
confrontations we want to see.
I like Laken a lot too. She grew on me these episodes. Not that I
Yeah.
disliked her before, but we just didn't know her because she literally just came
Hmm.
in. But like now seeing her more, I'm like, I like you, Laken. You're cool.
Yeah.
This is where they have the Amazon Fire and Ice game, and they
Hmm.
stand in the middle of the pool, and basically the guys have to rank the girls have to rank the guys based off America's vote. And so the girls rank the guys first, and they have to rank the guys from fakest to least fake. And they all agree that Carrington's the fakest, which was funny.
Hmm.
But they put Carrington at most fake and least fake Caleb, and that
Hmm.
was what America had thought.
Hmm.
Um, then the next one was who would make the best boyfriend. They think the best would be Johnny, and the worst is Carrington. They were right about Carrington, but America voted the best as Caleb. I don't know why they put John, maybe to throw Johnny a bone. Be like, yeah, we think you're the best, Johnny.
I
But I'm
mean,
like,
because he did, maybe because he asked Cely to be his girlfriend. So it's like you actually are a boyfriend right
that
now.
is true. He did do that whole thing where
But the
he was like,
logic is stupid. Y'all don't remember Casa? Because that's all we
hello.
remember.
Mm-hmm. And that's
That's
gonna come
all.
up
When we
again.
see Johnny, we see Casa. His
Casa
name is
Amor.
Casa Amor.
Casa Amor
Johnny
Johnny.
Casa Amor. Yes.
My
Why
name's
did we do that?
my
You said
name's
Casa Amor Johnny. I said Johnny Casa
the name's
Amor.
Johnny. Casa Amor Johnny.
Yes.
uh they have to do best and worst friend, and they picked Caleb as best and
Hmm.
Carrington as worst. They were right about
Hmm.
Caleb, but they put the worst as Bennett, which okay, I guess we haven't really seen him be a friend. So,
Yeah. I think they just had to pick somebody.
right. Now the guys have to rank the girls, and they have to rank best to worst girlfriend. They picked the best as Justine, and they picked worst Laurel, which that was
Hmm.
kind of shocking. And
Yeah.
then America did pick Justine as best, but the worst was Laken,
Yeah.
which I mean, most to least loyal. They picked most to Cely and least as Laken. They were right. I think with these, and Laken kind of touches on it, she's like, they don't really know me. So it's like,
Yeah. They
because
just pick you
Laken
by
hasn't really
default.
like shown she's unloyal. Like, if anything, she was like
Yeah.
nice to Laurel, even after not really knowing her
Yeah.
and doing it. But most to least Two Face, the guys decide to be funny. And they're like, most is Justine. And Caleb's like, she slays three or four faces. I was like, that was kind of funny. And then
Hmm.
they picked Moira as least fake. But funny enough, America voted the opposite and
Yeah.
voted Justine as least fake and Moira as most. And Moira just sobs.
He's
And
like, that really hurts my feelings. And I
like,
was like, Moira.
what else do you think? And like everyone's like, we don't believe it. This isn't true. We don't get it. And,
Yeah.
and I will say, I don't. Do
I
you
don't get
think
it.
Moira's the most two-faced?
I was really starting to dig in my archive brain. And I was like, what has she done? The only thing I can think is that she was Mackenzie's best friend and started dating her boyfriend.
Same.
So I'm like, that's the only thing where I feel like she's two-faced. And I mean, sometimes she says something, but then immediately feels different, like how she picked that one guy in Casa, and then they got back and she was just crying because she
It's like,
didn't like
actually,
him.
don't like you at all.
I think his name was it was Aaron, right? Or
Yeah.
something. And then she also oh maybe Morris, I got a little laundry list here.
I know. I'm like, for me, I was like, Two-Faced, or she just changes her mind a lot.
She's a little fickle.
She's a little
Yeah.
fickle. I was thinking the Mackenzie thing too, but I was just like, but America didn't like Mackenzie. So like, would they have even thought that?
It's really funny how America will be like, but that's not right that she did that to Mackenzie. And it's like, but you
Right.
hate Mackenzie. They're
I
like,
w
never mind that.
I wonder if maybe there was like, because they all do interviews when they leave, if there was any interviews Mackenzie did where things
Oh, I
were
wonder.
revealed about Moira or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
And I mean, she also kind of goes back and forth with the guys a bit. Like, she'll tell Calvin, she was like not really feeling Calvin. She's like, I'm interested in Bennett. But then
When
as soon as
Laken and
Calvin,
Julia came, she was like, oh, my
yes,
competition.
she kicks it into override. So it's like, yeah, you are a little two-faced actually. You say one thing and you do something else.
They're both beautiful faces,
Yes.
Moira. That is, in fact, my Housewives tagline. Or it's like, what was it? I may have two faces, but at least both of them are cute. So I feel you, Moira.
Yeah.
We're the same.
Yeah. I
Uh,
I mean, when it hurt her feelings, I was like, so when they previewed this game and we saw Moira crying, I thought it was worst. But she was really upset at this.
yeah, I thought there was more questions and like America was really ripping into her, which maybe there was more they didn't show, but they only talked
Mm,
about this one. So
yeah.
I don't know. But afterwards, Lakin understands because she like just got in there. So she's just like, they don't know me. So it is what it is.
Hmm.
And I'm like, very true, very true. And then Johnny on his soapbox. You know, as guys, we don't get affected by stuff like this, but the girls, it hits them hard. And I'm like, Johnny, you take things harder. As
You
we
take
will
everything
see in the next
personally.
episode, spoiler alert, than
Hmm.
anyone else.
Johnny's like, man. But I think you know how like something happens, you just say something to make yourself feel better. I think that's what Johnny is doing right now. Like, I mean, we can brush it off, but the girls, not so much. I mean, Carrington was worst for most things. Like, if anything, he
Yeah.
should be upset.
He said something
But
too in his like confessional. He's like, I'm glad I can entertain you guys. And I'm like, well, Carrington, I wouldn't go that far. I
right,
don't think that's it. No, no, no.
whatever helps you sleep at night, Carrington.
Right. The girls do make Moira feel better or try to. They're like, none of it's true. And she feels bad and hopes the girls don't think she's gossiping, which she doesn't, I would say. At least not
Yeah,
what we've seen. So, and then Calvin, he like tries to comfort her and he like doesn't understand how America would think that. And he goes up to her and he says, no one thinks she's two-faced, and lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep.
I know that's right. I like that a lot.
I do too, and this reminded me of Mary's tagline in The Real House of Salt Lake City in the recent season. Her
Hmm.
tagline was, God is my shepherd, and you all look like sheep.
Oh, that's a good one too.
It is. Mary is the minister who married her step grandfather. Anyways, so
What?
I'm telling you to watch Salt Lake City. I'm not gonna get into it. I'll leave you to watch it. You
She
weren't
married her
interested. I
step grandfather? What is a step grandpa?
think it's step grandpa. It's like not
Like your
grandpa
step
by
parents'
blood.
parents?
I think it would be maybe. It
That's
wasn't directly blood,
disgusting.
but it was still gross.
So like she got a stepmom and married her dad.
Look, Maggie, I'd love to get more into this, but you said you expressed uninterest in this
I
franchise.
already
So
deleted my Peacock account.
you
I'll
got to
figure
bring it
this out.
back.
It
What
might
if
be on YouTube TV. I'll look.
it probably is actually. Um, Moira's very
Anyway.
thankful for Calvin. Laken and Laurel
Yeah.
chat, and Laken says she's
Wait,
been.
I thought this was really cute. What did
It
you
was.
think?
Oh
It was
yes,
Calvin cheered her up. That he was like, shake it off, and they start shaking, and he's
that
like, come
was
on, let's
cute.
go downstairs. He really picked her up. I was like, not you guys looking compatible and acting compatible all of a sudden.
No, it was sweet. He was there for her and made her feel better.
I
And
actually thought at first that they were a good pair.
I
But
did
now we're
too.
actually seeing it. Yeah.
But then he like you said before, he was the one who was like, I don't want to touch you.
Right. In public or private. You know?
But now it seems like maybe he's more open, she's more
Yeah.
open. It's sweet.
Yeah. It's very sweet.
Um, Laken and Laurel chat, and Laken says she's nervous around Bennett, and that she told Carrington what he did to Laurel was awful, and then Laurel laughs. And I'm like, when are you nervous around Bennett? Maybe we just don't see him enough. But I'm
I
like,
think it's because she doesn't really like him.
yeah.
Or like it's not a natural vibe.
Yeah. It's they're very much the people, the more they talk, they just talk about how much they like each other, but nothing
Yeah. And no
specific.
depth there.
Um, Bennett gets a text tonight is an after hours pool party. And then they throw in the Caesar Palace ad. We never mention it, but they always do like this intense Caesar's
Oh.
Palace ad. And I'm
I
like,
was just
okay,
like, oh, I get to save 2 minutes and I just skip over
right.
it.
I'm like, great. They're all getting ready for the pool party. Cely and Johnny talk more at the pool party. I didn't write down what about because I was like, it's all the same shit to me. It's like,
They're happy. The outside will be better, and they're best friends.
woo. Um,
Woo!
Calvin has a moment where he doesn't know how to use a straw.
I was like, is he drunk?
I was
Because they're
like,
not
how
drinking. It doesn't look like they're drinking wine like they typically drink. So maybe he
true. It
looked
looks
drunk
like a
for a
mixed
second.
drink, and it was empty.
And
So maybe, and maybe because they don't drink that much now, it might
they
have hit
don't
him
eat that
harder.
much.
They
So
don't.
yeah.
Um,
Moira is seems drunk too. She's like, was breakfast this morning or was that yesterday?
he's like, we ate it both. uh, and but she tells us she's like, I wasn't fully happy until I met Calvin,
Mhm.
and he's like, I'm excited to keep writing our story together. And you know what? I actually do believe that Moira always liked Calvin.
Oh no, she definitely did. I think she took the rejection hard and was just like, okay, I guess I gotta find my love somewhere else. But I think she really did like him.
Yeah, because remember, the concept more recoupling. She basically, as soon as Ariel was like, you can pick someone, Aaron, she like picked him quickly. But then
Yeah.
when Calvin walked down with Cher, she was like, "Oh my God, why does he
Yeah, and
have
she
someone?"
started crying.
Yeah, the next day
Afterwards,
she's like,
she,
you didn't like try to talk to me,
yeah, she's like, I could have talked to both of y'all. And he was like, but I picked Cher.
and you picked Aaron."
So, no, she made it really obvious that she liked him. And then I think she took the rejection hard.
She did. So I believe her completely when she's like, I've never been happier than with him, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Um, Laurel says the tests in here will only make them stronger on the outside. I hate when
Hmm.
people say stuff like this. I'm like, you treating me like shit and putting me through so much emotional turmoil, that will only make us stronger. No, there's a huge dent in the foundation, whatever foundation y'all
Hmm.
had. It was made of sticks.
What we're about to see.
Literally, Carrington.
She's
When
like, this will make us stronger. Here goes Carrington.
when you think that maybe Carrington has changed and like, oh, he picked Laurel, maybe he did realize, like, oh, he really liked her, like all this. He's like, yeah, but like some of these rules that are in here, they'll have to apply to the outside because basically, like, on the outside, we aren't going to be boyfriend and girlfriend and we will live long distance. And if you want to get to know someone else, you can. And like, if we decide we like each other the most, that's great, but it is what it is. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, he's like, at a certain point, if all we can think about is each other, then maybe we can discuss being exclusive. And I'm like, Carrington. So you want to be single, basically, date who you want, keep getting to know Laurel and see if something happens. Like you guys are in the talking phase, basically. I'm like, all that, choosing her, realizing you've been very selfish and self-centered, and realizing that she puts everybody above herself is not enough to even say like, yeah, let's just date exclusively. No, he's
No.
like, no, it the outside world, we should treat it just like the villa. Keep talking to other
And
people.
actually, it should be even less rules because we will be long distance. I'm like, Carrington, y'all literally said I love you. Like, I can't. He's canceled. I can't with him.
And Laurel's like, will you visit me? And he's like, if you come to Utah. Like with the most attitude. And I'm like, what the
She's like, will you come to Alabama? He's like, yeah. I mean, are you gonna visit Utah? I'm like, Utah's like, Why would, of course, she would literally move to Utah.
Sure.
If you asked her, will you move to Utah with me? She would be like, of course. Like, come on. And
He's not reassuring at all. You can tell that he's not really trying to be with her.
mhm.
It's so weird, man. It's so weird.
It is. And then we go to Justine and Caleb, and they toast all their wonderful memories, and they just have another cute moment, as they
Mm-hmm.
do. And then
Mm-hmm.
Laurel gets a text. And this is one of those I didn't write the text down because they did this stupid thing where everyone would get a text and it would like finish the paragraph. And I'm like, oh my God. So she gets a
Mm-hmm.
text, then Bennett gets a text, and Caleb gets a text. And basically, it's just to tell them that Justine and Caleb are voted to get the hideaway, which we figured would
Mm-hmm.
happen. We voted for them.
Yes.
Um, but they're very excited. Justine's getting ready, and her and Cely are having fun getting ready. I will say, Justine dressed very modest and very demure.
Yeah.
She wore like a long cardigan, had like a little like shorts and
Yeah.
tie. I
I
was
think
like,
she had
pretty.
lingerie under it, but I'm not sure.
I think so. I think it was like a yellow something
Yeah.
that was showing. But they ultimately they get to the hideaway. They toast to America, and he's like, "Look, we talk a lot, so let's get that over with, so we can get to sleep." Or
And I was like, so do you guys have to talk? Because he's like, let's get this talk out of the way so we can get to bed. And I'm like, oh, I guess you
probably.
have to say something like, he's like, thanks to America, excited about the future. He's like, we did this already. America, we've
We've
given
had
you a
this
lot.
8 times.
Let's go to sleep.
Right. And he loves that America sees them as authentic. So
Hmm.
that's good. And then
Yeah.
basically everyone goes to bed. And then the next episode, we're gonna get family like messages and all that.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our final episode of the episode. Ooh, Inception. Episode 31. Get on your Zoom. The families are here. Caleb and Justine wake up and they're happy they didn't have to wake up to Sally
With
bang.
Sally.
And I'm like, period. And honestly, Sally's not the same because with them gone, she's like, I'm not as energized. I'm just sad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Sally.
Hmm.
Um, and then Caleb says the next time they'll have probably proper alone time is outside the villa. And this is where I'm like, yeah, until your girlfriend shows up. But
Oh boy.
the girls wonder if they went all the way, and Lakin then
Hmm.
randomly brings it back to her, and she's like, "Me and Bennett made out a bunch." And I'm like, "Great,
Yay, Laken,
woo,
happy for you.
happy for you, Lake." Justine and Caleb return, and this is where Justine's like, "Caleb made me proud," and I'm like, "Oof."
Yeah, it was like, okay, keeping it cute, not revealing a whole lot of details. Don't know what that means, but as long as you liked it.
Right, and Caleb's kind of being coy with the guys. He's just like, it was a good night. We had fun. We talked. We got closer. Fall more in love with her every day. The same
Yeah.
spiel. Um, and then Bennett and Lakin chat over breakfast, and he says he's the happiest he's ever been here. And Lakin's like, I'm just so comfortable with you. And this is where I came to the conclusion that I genuinely do not enjoy listening to Bennett speak. He talks like so fast, but it's
Does he?
also like it's almost like a
Slow.
fast mumble,
Uh-huh.
but yet slow. And it's always like he's leading a board meeting. I was like,
You're
and then
so
I went through all the
funny.
facts and I looked at all the charts and I was just like, this is the happiest I've ever been. And it was just like crazy because like I've never been happier. And like the thing about Kirsten, I tried to make her jealous, but she didn't like that. And it's just like, I don't know. But I always thought with you, I was just like, you were up on my list. And then I was like, this is great. But like, I don't know. I'm like, stop. Can't do this. Enough. Enough.
Enough. I didn't peep that, but the way
Oh,
you see things is really funny to me.
oh. The group is all together. Then all of a sudden, Moira's family pops up on the screen.
It's
Now,
her.
this is sorry, you go.
I was gonna say it's her sister and her mom.
It is. I was just gonna say this. It's interesting because in this past season, only a select few people got to talk to their family.
I was thinking that. I was
No,
like, I remember only, and I don't know why, but only certain people.
it was like the challenge. It was they did
Oh,
that
if they
game.
won, yes, the
Aaron and
winning
Kaylor
team, the
won.
Olympics themed game.
No, it was the other. It was the board. The Olympics theme game, they won just like a trophy, I think. Because remember, it was like
Oh.
Nicole and Kendall. And they were like, thank God we love this. And we're like, we hate
No,
you.
half of the villa was on a team. It was like a gold team and a blue
Yeah.
team or something. And I
But
thought the people who won got to talk.
no, it was the other one where there was less people, where it was like the board and was like, who's the most this, who's the most that? And like who complains the most? And then
Oh,
this is
okay,
where
okay.
Rob had his funny moment where he was like, is that Kaylor complaining?
That's funny.
But
So
because
okay, that makes sense because I
Aaron and
remember seeing.
Kaylor won, and then they picked Nicole and Kendall and Serena and Cordell.
I remember now. Okay, yes, that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, because the Olympic game, I don't think they won anything like, I think they just won a
Serious.
trophy. But that was
Okay, that
enough
makes
for Nicole
sense.
and Kendall.
They're like, let's go. So competitive.
Uh, but Moira goes to talk to her sister and mom, and her sister and her look so much alike.
They're like
They
twins.
are. And she's like, you look great, and Calvin's super cute. And like
Hmm.
she goes to grab Calvin to meet them. And the sister's just like, I'm so grateful that you're here for Moira.
Hmm.
And then this is when Calvin's dad and sister pop up. And
Hmm.
his sister says Moira's the most down to earth and all
Hmm.
this. And then Moira leaves to give them a moment alone. And it's like nice. And then they kind of like rejoice after. I will say none of these family moments, I think, because they have so many people and the episodes aren't that long, they're kind of quick.
Yeah, they cut a lot out. I think Calvin's dad was like, or his sister was like, we would have chosen Moira for you. We really like your
Yeah.
friendship. And that was kind of it. And
Yeah.
afterwards, they're like, we're really strong. And
They're
then
like,
we
I
move
love
on to the
that.
next one.
Right. I would probably, I guess, yeah, because the episodes are shorter because they're only like 40 minutes, where it's like Peacock, they're
Yeah.
like an hour 20, no
Yeah.
breaks. But
Yeah, because they let everybody do it instead of just a select few.
that too. So, but Justine tells Cely she's so nervous to talk to her parents because their advice was to be the Christian girl she is.
Hmm.
She's like, I shared a bed with Caleb and I hope I didn't let them down. And she's kind of like
Yeah.
crying. I'm like, oh, Justine.
She's really nervous. I would be, shoot.
Right.
Nigerian parent or African parents and like Caribbean parents, I feel like are kind of the same, similar in that they're very strict. Bringing embarrassment to your family is kind of a big deal. It's not like be who you are and we'll accept you. It's like be the best version of yourself and we will love you.
Do
But
not
screw up and
disappoint
we
us.
will, right, screw up and we'll let you know about it. So I get why she was nervous.
Right. Caleb tells Johnny he's nervous to meet the parents, but Justine being nervous makes him even more nervous.
Yeah, no, I was like, you have a right to be scared.
Right. Johnny's also nervous to meet Sally's family because of Casa Amor. And then
Yeah.
he kind of tries to make himself feel better, I guess. And he's like, nobody else's opinion matters but Sally's. I'm like, well, our family's opinion does matter.
It does. It's so interesting. Like, I actually feel like this is a very sobering moment because you can treat someone like shit, but when their family comes to talk to you about how you treated them, it's like, oh, it's a reality check. Like,
Yeah.
we don't treat people like you're somebody's daughter and somebody's son. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
just treat you however the fuck we want. And when you have
Right.
to face their parents, it's like kind of damning a little bit and definitely intimidating. So, Johnny has a right to be nervous.
Yes, and especially because in this environment, which they mention, it's like they see all this. It's not exactly normal because
Everything.
it's like they
No.
see everything because they normally
Yeah.
wouldn't. Um, but
He's funny because he's like, this is such a weird situation because they've seen me before I get to make a first impression. And I'm like, no, Johnny, this was your first impression and you fumbled it.
this was
It's
it.
this was it. Cause what? Like you meet her parents and then cheat on her? Like it's
Right. He's
you
like,
know what
I
I mean?
couldn't be fake to them because
Yeah. It's like you still did what you did. This is your first but he didn't of course nobody thinks about things like that. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to
yeah,
tell my parents and tell her parents. I mean, you are on a TV show, so maybe the thought should have crossed your mind a little bit.
right. But not everyone has. For someone who was so into winning and being the
Hmm.
top couple, he really lost his foresight once Casa Amor came around and
Was
after,
not
because
thinking about it.
we'll get into
Hmm.
what really the issue was, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but Laken's parents show up and it threw me off because she just goes, Jen. I'm like, did you just call your
You
mom
call your mom
Jen?
Jen. Yeah.
Just
I
so
don't know if that was a
casually.
stepmom or something.
Right? I was thinking that too, maybe, but then she was kind of, I mean, I don't know. They weren't very clear.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's just how they
Maybe.
yeah, that's so right. Jen! Like she was so
My mom
happy.
pops up. Yvette, is that you?
If I called my mom by her first name, like I have a joke, like, or not really a joke, but just playfully, like whenever I call her, I say, "Hey, lady," like I call her
Yeah, yeah,
lady,
yeah.
but not her first name.
I was like,
That's different.
mother, hello.
Yeah.
Um, Lakin does cry though, because the first few days were hard being the new girl. But
Yeah.
they're like, you know what? We're proud of you because you were always true to yourself. And then they show her
Mm-hmm.
brother, and that was
Mm.
sweet. This is the brother with
Yeah.
autism she opened up to Cal or Carrington about.
Yeah,
It
and I
was
think he
nice.
said something. He said like, he blows her a kiss and he's like,
Hmm.
"Hey sister, hi sister," or something like that. It was
Yeah,
really cute.
it was. I like Lakin. I wish she came earlier.
Me
I
too.
feel like she would have been fun. I saw on her
Yeah.
Instagram. I mean, let me not spoil real quick. I
Okay.
mean, unless y'all have already, whatever. I'll show later. Next episode when we have the finale.
Okay.
But Bennett joins, and then his parents pop up, and basically both parents are kind of saying like, we like them together, and like they look good, and like they seem like they like each other, and it's kind of generic, but it also kind of makes sense because it's like they just got together.
Yeah.
And also, I wonder how much the parents even saw of them. Like maybe one episode.
Right. They probably just saw the recoupling unless they get to see like advanced footage.
Yeah. And then he's talking to his parents, and his mom says he sounds really good, and that
Hmm.
they have nothing to worry about. Or he tells them that they have nothing to worry about, and they're like, "We'll back any decision you'll make and any decision you've
Yeah.
made." And I'm like, "Well, he hasn't really made that bad of decisions. He's been pretty
It's
like,
true, but it was a cute sentiment. She's like, "We
yeah."
love you, regardless of what you do. We love you through and through." It
She's
must
like,
be hard as a parent seeing your kids on TV
"Yeah.
and like just hoping, like, "Oh my gosh, please don't show your
Please don't
ass.
do anything too crazy." They're like, "We liked
Please."
Kirsten, but it's fine."
It's fine. Yeah.
It's
You
cool,
kind of
yes.
that jealousy thing was a bad move, but we love you
It's okay.
regardless.
Honestly, next to Johnny and Carrington, you're a saint. It's fine. It was
Yeah,
just a
you're not
slip
gonna
up.
win. You're not gonna win, son,
Not
but
gonna
we'll
win.
see you in a couple weeks.
You won't get the money, but you got the experience.
You got the girl for a few minutes.
uh Carrington, it cuts to him. He thinks it's gonna be weird, which and
Yeah,
then Laurel's mom pops up and she looks just like her. She has like a
she
southern
does.
accent. And they like
Yeah.
start to cry. And she's like, "This week has just been so hard, mom."
Mhm.
And mom's
Her
like,
dad's like,
"Carrington."
"Don't do that, baby. You'll make me cry." And he chokes up, and I was like, I started tearing up. I was
I
like,
know.
not her dad. He's like, "I miss you so much." I was like, oh my gosh, her parents seem like so freaking nice.
They do. And they're like, Carrington made him all emotional.
Yeah.
And then Laurel says it was hard what he did, and it made her feel like a second option. And she
Mm-hmm.
wants them to approve of him, even though he sucks. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, honey, your parents are sweet. They will.
Right. And even though they've seen her be the second option before, apparently.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, they're sweet, but this is, I mean, it must be awkward because what are they really going to say, like on this video call with
Exactly.
everyone there?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's the thing about these calls is everybody can hear them. They're like
Mm-hmm.
broadcasted for the whole villa to see, and I'm sure hear if they're close enough. It's not a
Right.
private conversation.
Not at all. It's quite awkward, and they're all in like their bikinis and stuff, just talking to their wholesome families.
I thought that was interesting too. Like I would put a shirt on or something, but that's what they do in
Mm.
the villa.
Hey. Carrington's freaking out though, but he's like, talking to parents is easy. but they've seen everything, so I can't sell past what they've seen. And I'm like, you're a fraud salesman. You were gonna lie to these people. You know what,
Mm-hmm.
Carrington? You don't have sales skills. You just have charm because you're good looking, and people are like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, let me get whatever he's selling. Like, meh, 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 meh. But it's like literally, you have no like. You couldn't sell me anything, Carrington. Could you imagine him trying to sell a Swedish candy? Oh, it's very flavorful and it's just chewy.
I bet he has passion when he needs to. He like turns it on. He can turn on the charm.
Well, he's yet to turn it on at all in these 31 episodes that we've
That
seen.
part. But it's
Uh,
true, like this is another like moment where it's kind of just like poetic justice, Carrington. Yes, please speak to her family about how you're a great guy and they should approve of you. Please make your
right.
case.
And then she goes to pull him, and then he's kind of talking to the parents, and he says something. He's like, "I'm Carrington. I'm sure you know who I am." And the dad's like, "Oh, we know who you are after this week." And I'm like, "Ooh, was that
Yeah.
subtle shade?"
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Laurel's dad. Um, and the mom's like, we cried with our daughter this week.
Mm-hmm.
And he owns that it was all because of him, and he knows Laurel is the one for him. And
Yeah.
they're pleasant because they're nice, so they're not gonna
Yeah.
be like rude. So it's like
Yeah.
fine. But then
Mm-hmm.
Carrington's parents pop up, and he starts to cry a little. I didn't see
Yeah.
tears, but he looked choked up.
He did.
So that's something. And he says it means a lot because they're divorced, and it shows how much they care about him that they're like on it together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's like, Laurel's made me more soft. And they're like, you could be softer.
Yeah, they're like the villa let it make you soft, man. Let get softer. It's okay.
It's all good. And they're like, Laurel's the best decision you ever made.
And his mom's like, "Don't change it. Stick it out.
And I'm
Stop
like,
changing your mind."
right? Do something right for once, Carrington.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he has his alone time with them, they joke about naming him Magic Mike because of his
Mm-hmm.
dancing they've seen. And I'm like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's over.
Yeah.
And the announcer goes, up next, it's my parents. No, it's not, because I'm just a voice to savages. Like, that was funny. Um, Justine's mom pops up, and this was like my favorite moment
It
ever.
was so
She
cute. They
starts
had
like
like
singing,
yeah.
and
It
it's
was
like
a
they're,
song in their language with her
yes,
name, and the song is like Justine is shining, and her mother loves her. And so I don't
yes.
know if they just like I don't know if it's a song already or if they just like created it for the moment. It was so stinking cute.
It was, and Justine's dancing, and her sister's on there, and then
Yeah,
like
she
everyone
looks just
claps
like her
after.
sister.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is one of my favorite moments ever.
Mm-hmm.
But they say Caleb's great and they love him. And her mom's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud. Your father's very
Mm-hmm.
proud. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
I dressed up like this because Caleb called you his queen. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, period. Um,
Yeah, because of the recoupling, he was like, I choose Queen Justine. And I was
oh
like,
yeah,
that's cute.
it is. And
Mm-hmm.
Caleb joins and they say they love him and are glad he's there for Justine. And then
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's mom and dad joins and he cries.
Mm-hmm. Like immediately, and his dad's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Don't cry, son. We love you, son." I was like, that would make me cry more. I love you too.
His dad says Justine was his first and original choice, and that they're
Mm-hmm.
proud of Caleb and how he's a role model for young men and how they should treat
Mm-hmm.
their queens. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. And then his sisters join, and it's so sweet. They're like
Yeah.
crying.
Yeah, the youngest one was like really crying a lot.
Yeah. And then Justine leaves to give him alone time, and the dad's like, do you think Justine's the one? And he's like, Justine's just everything you taught me to look for in a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to Justine, and she's telling Sally Moira that the way he was with his family made her fall for him even more.
Yeah.
And then Caleb says he can see a future with her, and she has all the qualities you look for in a wife. And I'm like, this is all sweet.
Don't ruin it, Brandon. We'll move on.
I'm not ruining it. I'm just like, this sounds like something that could have lasted.
No,
Um,
for real. Like the fact that they are not together today is sad. And I don't
mhm,
know how long they were together. I hope they tried it out for a little bit, but like it seemed like they had a lot of potential, a lot going for them. And
mhm.
surprisingly, I only see Justine in ads, not Caleb. Like I see Justine on TV and stuff, but not Caleb. So it must have been public somehow, or maybe she did another show, or I don't know.
From what I know is it seemed like the public really chose Justine's side, whatever happened.
Okay.
So
So
I don't know if we saw Caleb ever again on TV.
yeah, I was like, can you imagine being Caleb at home doing whatever and you see your ex like in a commercial?
Right.
Bro.
She's like everywhere. She
Yeah,
recently
she
did a
is.
YouTube video where I think she talked about all her experiences.
Oh, I'm
So
excited. We gotta watch that.
we do. But Caleb and Justine talk, and he's crying about what his dad told him after she left. And he says
Mm-hmm.
how it felt good because of the state of the world. Because this is like really during like COVID and like Black Lives
Mm-hmm.
Matter and everything with George
Mm-hmm.
Floyd and all that. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of POC don't always get to experience privilege. So him saying he's setting a good example feels great. It's a really nice moment.
He did. I really feel like he did. I feel like black men, especially on TV, don't get the best rap. Or men in general. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
from it's like kind of like once you show your ass, it's like you're a villain almost. And Caleb, I'll say that much. Like Caleb had like a smooth run. He like hasn't really done anything bad. He like is sticking out with Justine, treating her very well. Like he is setting a very good example. That's like nice to see. Whereas
Yeah.
like season 6, Hakeem is like yelling at girls, and it's like, okay, we gotta do better. We
Oh,
gotta do
Hakeem.
better, you know?
Uh, and then Justine tells him that her mom said Caleb reminds her of her dad, and that was
Yeah.
nice. And then this is where I'm like, okay, winner's at it. This is very
hmm
much.
No, it definitely is. Because this is the longest family talk we saw out
Yeah.
of all of them.
And the most like in depth, like all
Or I
that.
guess Johnny and Sally's is kind of long too.
Well, that one takes a bit of a different turn, but we'll get to that. Sally can't wait to just hear her family's voices, and Johnny's freaking out. And then Sally's mom, sister, and brother pop up.
hmm
And they're all yelling and they're like, twerk if you can hear us.
That's so
And I'm like, oh
funny.
Lord.
So this is the like this is why Sally is Sally Bird because like her parents have just allowed her to express herself. My mom would never tell me to twerk if I can hear them. I thought it was so cute.
It
Like they
was.
just love her and support her and let her be herself.
It was so nice. And then they talk about how they love her and miss her. And they say they're happy for her and Johnny or something like that. And I'm like, because Sally's like, I never thought I would find love or find someone who I loved like this. And they're like, yeah, we're happy
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, she's like, we have a boyfriend. Or she's like, I have a boyfriend. And they're like, I'm so happy. And they're like, yeah, we're happy. It was like kind of like delayed for a second.
They're like,
They're
uh-huh.
like, tell us about Johnny.
And then her mom asks how she's okay with Casa Amor.
Yeah,
And
like how
she's,
did she handle it?
yeah, and she just cries and says she raised her to know people are human and make mistakes. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, that's true, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnny joins, and her brother's basically like, look, we got to talk to you, and it's gonna take a while for us all to like move past this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Johnny said something like, it's my biggest regret hurting Sally, and I care about her so much, stuff like that, all the same
Yeah.
stuff he's been saying.
Yeah, he's like, I'd take it back if I could. I
Hmm.
understand. It was not a good thing to do.
Yeah, and he does say though that since Sally says she loves him, the brother, he must be special. So they're willing to give
Yeah.
him like another chance. And
Mm-hmm.
this is where I'm like, I promise you, Sally's brother, he's not that special.
He's not that special. The mom's like, I think he learned his lesson. And I'm like, I don't know if he did.
Did he?
Um,
Um, but
well, we don't know why they don't aren't together. I don't know if it's because he did something or if she watched Casa and was like, nah, I'm good on you, or if she left and was like, Actually, what you did was really bad and I can't move past it. And we're not sure.
Yeah, we're not quite sure. That'll be something to dive into afterwards to get the real reason. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was something about her watching Casa for
Yeah, I
herself.
wouldn't either.
Um, but Johnny's parents pop up and his dad says, "You didn't stick to the game plan." And like all this, it was basically like, "Why'd you do that?" But he's like, if I was your age, I might do the same thing. I'm like, okay, well, we
hmm
shouldn't normalize, being awful.
Yeah, it's almost like they make an excuse for it. The
Yeah.
mom does too. She's like, the situations that you're in are not normal, but remember not to waver. And I'm like, so you're acknowledging that it's not normal, but that he also shouldn't have wavered. So,
Yeah. And like they're like, it's good though that you messed up and that you have faults. And it's like,
yeah.
okay, yeah. And then Sally's sister is like, it's a clean slate from here. And that's where we get Johnny talking to us, and he's like, Casa Amor, it's such a small part of me and Sally, but it seems to be all that people cling to.
Yeah.
And then him and Sally are talking afterwards. And he's like, it sucks that that was the topic of conversation. And she says they had their time to hash it out, but their families haven't. And it sucks for both of them. And my thing's this, it's not just the one moment like Casa Amor, it's everything also that happened afterwards.
Yeah, you didn't really own it. You didn't really create a situation where everybody could just be like, okay, we'll move on. So it's gonna be talked about. And it's like, he's like, dang. I mean, I think he just feels bad that he did something bad and that he has to keep being reminded of it. And it sucks. I get it. But it's like, you did it. You have to
Yeah,
know people are gonna be talking about it. That was a really big thing you did.
right. Um, and everyone's getting ready for the night reflecting, and Johnny's just annoyed because he didn't get to talk
Mm-hmm.
about how much he cares about Sully. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't have to talk about it if he would have showed it. Anyways, nighttime, and Laken and Bennett are chatting, and he says she's a mix of everything he looks for, and they're happy their parents like each other. And the only thing that I could focus on was his Amazon cross earring because it was very
I didn't even
long.
notice.
It was like a black stainless steel, just long dangly cross on one ear. And I was like, I've seen that on Amazon. But Carrington says he could have gone about things more smooth, but he had to face the consequences as a man. Laurel says they were just worried about how sad I was. It's
hmm
like, Justine and Caleb talk. He feels emotionally drained, and she's like, I feel on a high. And then he's like, I have such an ugly cry. And she says, no, it's cute.
No, it really is like I get what she meant by like it made her fall for him more because it's very sincere to see a man show emotion, like
Oh
and you
yeah.
let yourself be vulnerable and show emotion. She's seen, the girls cry and stuff, but to see him kind of be vulnerable was very sweet.
It was. And then we get to Sally and Johnny again. And
Uh,
he's like, I'm not upset. As he's sitting there, like,
Looking upset,
and she's like,
acting
well, I
upset.
can tell you are upset.
hmm
Um, and she says it sucks his character keeps being questioned over one moment, which again, it really wasn't just one moment. It was a lot
Girl,
of
it's a
moments.
couple things. It's a couple things.
Um, but he appreciates her writing so hard for her and seeing the good in him, or writing so hard for him and seeing the good in him. And he cries because he didn't get to show his personality. That's so great,
Yeah.
his personality of his.
Yeah, he like walks up, gets up and walks away. And it's like, Johnny, your feelings are valid. Like I get it, you're upset, but you have to know that they're gonna ask you about that. You knew that before the conversation. You're like worried about them asking you about it. Even you are only thinking about it. Your first
Right.
thing wasn't to be like, oh, I can't wait to tell them how much I love Sally. It was like, I know they're gonna ask me about this. So it's like a almost like to brace yourself for something makes it a little easier to go through, but he's just like mad he has to embrace it at all.
Yeah. It's just because he says he hasn't forgiven himself for it and that he created the only weakness in their relationship. My thing is, do you have you not forgiven yourself? Because I think he says because people keep talking about it. So that's the only reason, or is it truly just because you hurt Sally? Or is it
Yeah.
now that your relationship is being viewed differently? It's the optics of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it could be that too. He's like, man, we're not gonna win Love
He's
Island. I
like,
probably
shit.
fucked our chances. No, but I mean, excuse me, Johnny gives me very competitive energy. So anything apart from winning, anything apart from or perfectionist energy, honestly, anything apart from like winning, being perfect, doing it right, it like really troubles him. And he's gotta like also acknowledge, like, okay, I have to forgive myself and let this go. I can't harp on it every day.
Yeah. But that the episode ends, and so we get in the preview that there's gonna be a final dumping, there's gonna
Yeah,
be the babies.
game, yeah.
And then our next time we talk about Love Island is gonna be the final three episodes. So we're gonna have the finale and all
Final
that.
3 episodes. I'm
So I
excited.
am too excited to put a close to this chapter just because it's been a long
Mm-hmm.
chapter, but excited to see what happens
Yeah.
and all that. For our next episode, should we do an episode of Mormon Wives and
Oh
then
yeah,
read
definitely.
Love Island? I would should we just do maybe we'll just do episode two, given well, here's the thing. Wednesday I was supposed to have jury duty. I say
Oh yeah.
was because there is this hurricane happening.
Yeah, so we don't know.
So we don't know
And
what's going on.
people are acting like we should evacuate. Someone else just texted me about evacuations. So we got to figure out life. But the next time we record, we can decide what we want to do.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's Love Island. Maybe it's Mormon Wives. Y'all people who
Yeah.
voted on Spotify, thanks for only two votes and them both being just for the other thing. So it's 50-50. Thanks. Just kidding. Thank you for voting. But I haven't seen much with Love is Blind at all.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm not really on social media to watch.
But with that being said, that's it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for
Thank
listening.
you.
Make sure to rate and review us, give us 5 stars, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We love
Mm-hmm.
those. If you would like to see our beautiful faces instead of just listening to us, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Shade of It All Podcast. You can follow us on TikTok at the Shade of It All Podcast, Instagram at the Shade of It All Pod, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.